I run all the time.
Oh, boy. Oh, I'm on the wrong video. Let me-
Oh, not still a baby.
What?
There we go.
Okay, that's fine. That's
That's
fine.
fine.
We're ready. Are we recording on all levels?
We are
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This is the meeting of April 21st, 2022. My name is Joan Beely, and I'm the chairperson for the Planning and Zoning Commission. This meeting may be attended in person or by remote video or telephone conference. Zoom conference access information was provided for the commission members, applicants, and other interested parties to participate, and it's noticed on the legal ad and agenda posted on the town's website. For all those of you who are attending, I would ask that you mute yourselves so that you're able to hear and we don't receive any kind of background noise. Other reminders: first, every time you speak, you must state your name and title for the record. Second, you want to be careful not to overspeak on folks who are up here, because we want to have a clear record of what's being said. For this reason, when it comes time for the commission members to comment or ask questions about a particular agenda item before an action is taken, or when the vote is going to be taken, a roll call, Maureen Giusti will actually handle the roll call as needed. Also, the regular meeting is being recorded, and the recording is going to be posted on the town's website. Maureen, do you want to take the roll call for the meeting tonight? Okay,
John Michael O'Brien,
he's absent.
Diane Joycey,
Here.
Tim Zigma,
Here.
Brian Rogan,
Here.
Sandra Capola,
Here.
Scott Canalastri, excused,
Mhm.
Chairman Dealing,
Here.
Peter Zaragoza, alternate, has to be excused, Andrew Langiani, alternate.
Andrew, are you online? Not here? Okay. Absent, I guess.
And Steve Ballard Jr., alternate.
Steve Biella, are you online by any chance? Also absent. I haven't heard from him in a little bit. Okay, we do have a quorum, so we're just gonna dig right in. First up is the review of the minutes of April 7th, 2022. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any corrections that need to be noted for Fran, or are we good to go with this?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Zigma, a second. Second by Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed? So moved. On to new business. Proposed subdivision application at Earl Wickland for phase 3, which is 7 lots of a preliminary approved 18 lot subdivision, 91 lot, block 10, West Lane.
Madam Chairwoman, I will be recusing myself in line with my previous refusal for this application.
Okay, so we have Mr. Rogan stepping down for this item. Okay, but we still have a quorum, so we'll go on.
Good evening, for the record, Mark Bove, H. Cohen Son, representing Mr. Wickland. Before you can see the approved features. Way in each subdivision that Mr. Wickland had done about 3 years ago. This commission has approved final approvals for this first phase, which is located across West Lane. A second phase was brought the new the roadway into the site. And what we're proposing is phase 3, which is the last section of the subdivision. There's 8 lots, I'm sorry, 7 lots, lot 8 through 14. We finished the project. All the open space and drainage rights of way have already been deeded to the town. So this is essentially just an extension of the roadway to the conclusion. These lots are served by public sewer, public water by the Kingston Fire District. Most native infrastructure areas being installed or will be installed. And we would ask for approval.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead.
No, these are the original plans. I think there might have been one piece of drainage that was revised. Then I should note there were staff comments with it, no problem. Staff comments listed in the staff report.
Commissioners, do we have any questions? Okay, Maureen, do we have any staff comments? I mean,
So basically from the staff standpoint, this was reviewed as Mr. Bove commented, the 18 lot subdivision was previously approved. There have been some modifications over time to that. That first phase was part of that initial approval. Phase 2 then came back to you, we incorporated, or rather the commission incorporated all the relevant conditions into the phase 2 approval from the original approval. And I just asked again that the original approval and the applicable conditions that were carried forward, continue to be carried forward, adding, setting up markers, all is detailed in the staff report. And the continued with staff objection to approval of the final phase. We have had issues or anything.
As far as the
As far as the open space and conservation easements and everything, that's all being addressed
So
or?
it's already completed as part of the first phase.
Okay,
So
terrific.
the open space to the land trust was needed, the open space to the town will come likely when all the improvements are in and the road is done, and that'll all then go to town. As is typical for.
Okay,
As it comes to fruition.
all right, terrific, thank you. Commission, do we have any? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve phase 3 as originally approved, subject to staff comments and. We have a motion by Ms. Dorsey, second by Mr. Zima. Further discussion? Then all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Public hearings, do we have a call for the public hearing? Brian, you want to read it directly? Go ahead.
Town of Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing notice. The Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission will hold public hearing for its regular meeting on Thursday, April 21st, 2022, at 7 p.m. in the Town Council Chambers, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut. Interested parties may join the meeting and participate in the public hearings in person or remotely as provided below. A. Zone change application of 337 Berlin LLC to change the zone of 237 Berlin Turnpike map 4-4, lot 127, lot 24, and 466 Deming Road, map 4-4, block 127, lot 1, from BT2 to BT1, and 51 Worthington Ridge, map 10-2, block 127, lot 23, from PI to BT1. B. Special permit applications and unified site plan of Sebastian Mail Spini for properties at 202 to 212 Mill Street, map 10-3, block 86, lot 5 and 5A in the CCD2 zone for 1, residential apartments, 2, a fast food restaurant at lot 5A, 202 Mill Street, and 3, the addition of a drive-through lane at lot 5A, 202 Mill Street. C. Special permit use application of Joey's Place at ABBA Services of Connecticut for a childcare and preschool learning center at a portion of the 1261 Berlin Turnpike in the SPPD zone. D. Proposed text amendment to the zoning regulations of Robert Rossi to add automotive appearance enhancement services for use for automobiles, motorcycle, and pickup trucks. No mechanical and non-sales to section 7C GI2 special permit uses. The applications and related meeting materials are available at the Planning and Zoning Department, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut. Dated this 7th day of April, 2022 at Berlin, Connecticut, Brian Rogan, Secretary of Planning and Zoning Commission, New Britain Herald Classified Advertising / legal notices, dates of publications, Saturday, April 9th, 2022, and Monday, April 18th, 2022.
Thank you, Brian. And just for the record, you are reseated now. And also Steve Biella has just entered the room. So Steve, we're going to ask you to be seated for this meeting as well. All right, thank you for coming. All right, so on to the public hearings. The first one we have is a special permit site plan application for the Preserve SM LLC for 76 residential units in 48 buildings and 28 single-family units on Lot 1, 51 Randacre Lane. This public hearing is continued. We started off February 3rd, we went March 3rd, and we're March 17th, we're April 7th, and here we are on April 21st. So it's been a long process. So where are we now with in the mix of things?
Well, good evening, Attorney Tim Sullivan on behalf of the applicant, Preserve SM LLC. As this commission is aware, the Preserve has proposed a 76-unit residential development adjacent to West Lane and Ragged Mountain. Just to clear up a couple of things, I believe the public hearing needs to be closed tonight. There are staff comments that state that talking about a number of days and it has to be closed unless we grant an extension. But I don't think we can grant sufficient extension to get to the next meeting. Because I've got my calculation is that we opened a public hearing on February 3rd, and we run to the end of April 30th. That would be 86 days. And we have 14 days beyond that, so we would possibly be able to get to the May meeting, May 7th, all right?
Make that.
May 5th.
I have 23 days remaining.
23 days remain from now.
So I have,
Yes.
we opened on February 3rd with a must close date 35 days later of March 10th.
Yes,
From March 10th to today, we've used 42 days.
yes,
And so 65 plus 42 leaves 23 days remaining.
and I agree with you. And
Okay.
May 5th, so we can get to the May 5th meeting.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that was clear.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I put it in the staff
Yes,
report,
that's
because I
why
did it
I just
so
want to make
many
sure the
times.
addition, yeah, is correct.
Not the days.
Yeah, all right.
As the commission is aware, the project is proposed on 110 acres. Of that 110 acres, only 20 will actually be the envelope for the construction. 19 acres will be donated to the Berlin Land Trust, 56 will be permanently conserved. 1 acre will be donated to the town of Berlin to take care of hiking, parking issues along West Lane. The possibility for this project was initiated by a zone change from R43 to PR2 in May of 2020. The intent of the zone change was to allow for consideration of a multifamily development. Following some COVID-related delays, a special permit and site plan application are before the commission pursuant to Berlin zoning regulation 5C4J. The zoning regulation allows a higher density development by special permit to concentrate the development activities in a condensed area. The shrinking of the building envelope preserves the natural environment of a significant part of the property, creating a buffer for Ragged Mountain. Since opening the public hearing on February 3rd, 2022, the commission has received testimony from the Preserve Development Team. This includes Bart Beauvais, the project engineer who's here tonight. Bart has revised the plans as required to address comments from the planning and engineering departments. Some of the revisions have occurred since the April 7th, 2022 public hearing, and Bart will review those changes in a few minutes. Scott Heskett, traffic engineer, submitted a traffic report and testified in support of that traffic report, and subsequently provided supplemental information to address concerns of Micah Hearn. And Micah Hearn has signed off on those as well from the traffic standpoint. Chris Hill is the architect from Blue Moon Design. Mr. Hill submitted detailed architectural drawings and material boards. Mr. Hill also testified to the commission. This project has a few moving parts which have been satisfied to comply with the regulations and statutes. First, public water and sewer. Under Berlin zoning regulation 8D 1F requires public water and sewer for a multifamily development. To accomplish this, public water and sewer preserve and to secure DEP approval to expand the sewer, the public sewer service area. It previously was an unsewered area. That approval was secured. Underwater, the water was actually within the Water Control Commission's exclusive service area. They did not have the infrastructure to provide water to this project. So they deferred to the Kennington Fire District, and there is an agreement that is in front of this commission as part of the record of this commission that the Kennington Fire District, the Water Control Commission, and the Preserve have agreed that Kennington Fire District will be providing a kind of water. And actually, Kennington Fire District will be providing public water and sewer. And there's documents in the record to support that. The transfer of the hiking trail to the town of Berlin. 2 nights ago, the town council approved the 824 referral so that the town is willing to accept the parking area proposed to be deeded to the town to alleviate the hiking parking by the hikers along West Lane. Just a little bit of housekeeping. The warranty deed for the lot was submitted by email to Maureen today. The Kennington Fire District letter regarding sanitary sewer system was submitted by email today. And the Shuttle Meadow Country Club letter regarding the transfer of lot 93 was submitted by email today, as well as a couple of just pro forma easement documents for water and sewer. Without reservation, this project checks all the boxes for special permit consideration, including the health and safety and welfare, the plan of conservation and development, consistent with the intent and purpose of the PR2 zone and the plan of conservation and development by preserving open space, encouraging housing options for mature families who no longer want the obligations of land ownership, or for younger individuals who don't have families yet who don't want the ownership obligations of land. And it's adjacent to a Ragged Mountain for hiking the trails. There's public water and sewer. The architectural design is compatible with the landscape. There's landscaping and screening, long-term viability through the homeowners association, and the amenities, the golf course and the path and the shed to access the golf course, the community garden, as well as adjacent to the trails. Since Since the April 7th public hearing, Bart and I met with Maureen, Michael Hearn, and Jim Horrible to finalize certain engineering responses and revisions. And Bart incorporated changes to the plans. At this time, Bart will review the changes and other submittals that's happened over the last 2 weeks.
Thanks, Tim. Mark Bovee from AG Cole, the applicant. We've had a busy last couple of weeks trying to dot the i's across the T's from the last meeting. Prior to the last meeting, we submitted some more natural report and some minor changes on the detention basins for the flooding that kind of go along with the report. Mike had not had a chance to look at that time. But as Tim mentioned, after our meeting, we did meet with staff on the 12th. And besides going over some of the traffic issues that Mike was satisfied, I took out 3 points that we needed to provide the town. Number one, a description of the property we conveyed, which related to something provided to the town planner. We provided them to Mike with a narrative of the sanitary system, kind of explained the whole system, how it was going to work with vertical speed pumps and storage and such. And then he was looking for a plan, which was part of his previous comments, but he was looking for a plan that showed gas main locations and other conduits, utility conduits, so to make sure there was enough space through the whole site. Within the next day, we provided the submittal to the town engineer for the narrative. He had marked it up, but we provided him within the next day. We got Tim his description that he subsequently got to the planner. And we provided a set of plan and profile drawings that included both the gas main and utility conduits on the plan. Mike looked at those and he was satisfied. I think he relates in his staff comments, final comments, that those are provided to him. He reviewed those. The following day, on Thursday before the holiday, we were tasked with a meeting with Dan McCune at the Kinston Fire District to make sure they had a general sign off, everything on the plans and understood it. I met with Dan and for about a half an hour, we went over the whole operational issues, went through the narrative that I gave to Mike and kind of a rough layout of how I envisioned things. He subsequently has met with members of the Kinston Fire District and they have provided a letter that Tim has mentioned that he gave the staff regarding the Fire District's agreement that they would operate and maintain the system, and that there would be a working agreement with the association on the rest of the site. After that, early this week, we got a markup from the town engineer again for more comments. They were in the form of just taking the sheets and scanning them through. So within the next 48 hours, I gave him revised plans for the note sheet, some of the general layout and some of the detention basin. Basically, they're relatively minor. He wanted to make sure that we maintain a 10-foot horizontal separation of the water and gas, so we made sure we did all that. He wants some extra grade shown on the detention ponds, which we gave him, and he wanted a few inverts shown. So we showed those. He subsequently looked at those, and again, in the staff memo indicates that he's received those and he signed up on those. So generally, my dealings were more for the engineering and the water and sewer side of it. Mike seems content. I think he mentioned it was his final comments when he gave his memorandum. So hopefully you can see by the amount of work that we've done in the information that Mike has given that we've satisfied engineering concerns, and hopefully we've satisfied the planner with regard to improvements on the site. And I'll let Tim finish up.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just do a resourceful comment now and just see if there's any other comments from the commission and the public.
Okay, sure thing. Let's go ahead. All righty, Mr. Dorsey.
Just a couple of questions, Bart, actually, if you don't mind. Just with respect to the narrative that's been submitted,
It was unclear to me when I got my package where the narrative came from, who generated it. So Maureen, in the record, for future reference, I just want to make sure that there's a note in the record that this came from Bart or, from the applicant, and that it wasn't something that staff generated. And the only question that I have is about the generator unit for the timed system. Is that going to be like in a separate structure, or what's that going to look like?
That's something we really haven't finalized. Most of them now come in weatherproof cases, and they're rather compact and not as obvious as the ones, say, by the underpass, 372. They're a lot smaller. It'll have an automatic transfer switch, so there won't be any need for anybody to go there physically turn it on. It will automatically turn itself on. So we really haven't decided whether we're going to close that small building or it's going to be a weatherproof type of container that sits out there. So it's not going to be obnoxious. Let's put it that way. It's going to look good when it's done. And I will tell you, I don't know if Maureen sent you this, but we put the narrative on our company letterhead. So
Oh,
Yeah.
no, we just have it on plain paper.
okay.
That's what I was thinking, it was on letterhead, that's why I'm like, really? So I looked at it, so it may have been where the print was generated from.
This is the one that's dated April 11th.
Yep.
But there's no, it's not
No.
signed, it doesn't say.
Okay, well, the staff has a copy that's on there.
So that's the most important. That's the reference, right?
And going back to generator, if you would like it closed, we can close it and go with it. But I really don't think it's gonna be such a big unit that it's gonna require that. All it's gonna do is operate.
Well, when I was reading the narrative, the first thing that came to mind is, oh my, what do they do if they lose power?
Yes.
And just reading further into the narrative and understanding that there will be a generator there. I didn't know if it would be like a subterranean kind of house.
No, we're planning on putting a surface. Usually it's in our concrete pad. This would probably be 5 feet, maybe 2.5, 3 feet wide, and probably no more than 2.5, 3 feet high.
Art, do we know where that generator will be?
Yeah, it's gonna be back with the whole pump system. If, I don't know if you have the updated plans, but we've kind of schematically shown the tanks and the pump.
It's not gonna be the most.
No.
Do you want,
I do have other sheets.
that you want up there?
Let's see. Can you look at that list and see if it's one of those? You can't read it. That far.
I didn't know.
It's probably on the second set. Yeah. Scroll, I think it'd be the next sheet.
Will it be by the gated entrance?
No, it'll be back by the cul-de-sac at the back end.
Oh, okay, so it's gonna be.
Yeah, so if you see the cul-de-sac right there,
Yes.
then you can zoom up on the back end of the cul-de-sac.
Whoa.
Okay, there you see it, okay? You can see the cul-de-sac and
right?
this tank.
Oh, I see.
Sit
Is
there.
that
That's it.
it? Okay.
It'll sit right next to the generator, right by the control panel. So there'll be a control panel that'll set up, kind of like the one, I don't know what the final style is
Yeah.
gonna be, or quite fit, but the panels are typically gray with a shingle roof. And it looks like a 4x8 sheet of plywood. We probably could address that up to fit, but you can see the two tanks located right there, where Marie's pointed again, and those are the wet wells, there's a dry well right there, and just behind that is where the generator is.
Okay.
Who's gonna be responsible for maintaining that? Is that gonna be on this district, or is it gonna be?
The district is indicated in their letter that they're gonna operate and maintain the entire water and sewer system within the site. The association will work a contract out with the district to provide those services. So the home association will be technically the owner, but for the maintenance and operation will be the fire district. They'll have full control of the pumps. They'll be able to do what they want to do with the pumping. So if they want to adjust it, our biggest concern is during the phasing. This thing is a build out for the full 4 units or all 78 building units.
Yeah,
But in the first and second phase, you're not gonna need that much capacity. So with the electronic control system and the variable speed pumps, the district will be able to dial in exactly what's gonna be the best fit for their needs in their holding tanks to release it to the system. So as the system gets bigger and more houses are added into the system, the district can adjust it as necessary, which is different than the old system with float switches. We had to go in there and adjust the floats and stuff. This is a much simpler system.
Maureen, any comments on the Kensington Fire District with the water sewer agreement or did staff have any
So,
concerns with
To
that?
clarify, I'm not sure if it was clear, but the agreement that was executed is the execute, and Tim can correct me if I'm referring to the wrong document, but the Kensington Fire District, actually, it's not the Kensington Fire District's letter says that they are going to take over operation of the pump. It was in a letter from on there that they submitted and wrote out, not the applicant. That they are maintaining, and that's reflected in town engineer Mike Ahern's comments that Kensington Fire District has agreed to that, and that's fine. You know, he was satisfied with that comment. The comment, the outstanding comment we have with regard to sewer is, and again, it came in a plethora of different submissions, he can provide that, but written confirmation that the town manager wrote a letter in December that said that the sewer area as well as the water area is under the purview of borough as opposed to Kensington Fire District. So Kensington Fire District is providing those services. We got the executed agreement with regard to the sewer, to the water, being that Kensington acknowledges that it's within the town's area. We don't have something that acknowledges from Kensington Fire District that sewer is within the town's area. So we just wanted that documentation from them confirming they agree with the town manager's letter.
The Kensington Fire District will be providing sewer services pursuant to the DEP finding that expanded the sewer service area for the Kensington Fire District. The Water Control Commission never had sewer service in this area. They had water service only. So the Water Control Commission is completely removed on the sewer side, and the Kensington Fire District and the applicant preserve made an application to DEP to expand the sewer service, and that was granted. And that email was provided. The Water Control Commission has nothing to do with sewer in this area.
Okay, but as far as the in-house, here, so the building department has, or the planning department has the email.
They have the email. They also have correspondence from Attorney Rick Pentor representing the Kensington Fire District with attachments for permit agreements for both water and sewer. And in the letter, the cover letter, along with the permit agreements, is their intent that they will be providing water and sewer to this project. All of that's in the record.
Okay. Maureen?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to coordinate that conversation with the Corporation Council today. I would, however, I did talk to the town engineer. We felt the answer to Corporation Council's question was still outstanding. So what we determined was prior to the decision, you know, you can close the hearing and make it, you have 65 days after closing the hearing to make a decision, and or prior to closing the hearing, we get that confirmation from Corporation Council that that's been satisfied.
Okay.
Legalese that neither myself or the town engineer felt we were comfortable confirming that was satisfied.
It was a matter of pay grade.
Or education.
One or the other.
This is the first we're hearing, there's an issue, we submitted this
Oh,
information.
okay.
Two hearings ago.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I just want to make sure that we're crossing our Ts and dotting our Is at this end. But we are in the public hearing, so let me just step away from the commission for a minute and ask if there's anyone in the public who wishes to address the commission regarding this application, either for or against. Now would be the time to raise any questions or concerns that you have. So I see no one here. Is there anyone online?
Let me stop sharing so we can see.
Is there anyone? Oh, okay, coming back to the commission. Are there any other questions that we have or?
Hello?
Oh, wait, okay. Is there somebody online who wishes to address the commission regarding this application?
Yes. Hi, my name is Brianna Schwinn. I believe I spoke both with Francis and Maureen about my concerns rather for building closely to Ragged Mountain.
Okay, Brianna, it's Brianna, correct?
Yes.
I would need your address for the record, Brianna.
I live at 214 Bassett Street in New Britain, Connecticut.
Okay, all right. So yes, Maureen.
So she did send an email today and asked if your supplemental packet. I was trying to point it out.
Okay.
My stuff.
Give us just a second here.
I apologize for the typos in advance.
No, don't worry, don't worry. That's why we have a public hearing.
I missed it. I took it online.
Okay,
Maybe read it.
yeah, all right. You want to, do you have it? Or,
I think the first here to speak.
okay,
Use the email reference and have her.
all right. I'm unable to locate my copy of your letter. I have no doubt that you sent it. However, what are the concerns? Do you want to read it into record, or did you want to make, share your thoughts with us, Brianna?
Yeah, so just real quick. So I hike Ragged Mountain pretty much weekly, if not multiple times a week. I love that land. I have spent a lot of time there. I love it there. I know a lot of other hikers do as well. And I'm just a little worried that there will be a negative impact. As I said, like I know like there are good intentions behind building near there. Obviously, I think housing is a great idea. I just am certainly concerned that is going to negatively impact the land in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see any sort of deforestation that's not necessary. And I was wondering if, there's a possibility that you could put my mind at ease to make sure that, there's nothing that's going to be negatively impacting that, as I said, in an environmental sense. I know, as you said, that you guys have done the necessary procedures to make sure that that's all well and good, but I just don't want to see anything bad happen to that area.
Understood. Yeah, that's something that we've all sort of addressed, and I think when the applicant came through with this proposal, thank you. When the applicant came through with the proposal, that was something that was shared, is that, it's a wonderful piece of property, and we wanted to see what they would be able to, what their project was about. I do know that, with the resolve of this project that they've proposed, so that you understand, they proposed a parking area to help with the traffic at Ragged Mountain. They're doing everything they can. They've been working with the Berlin Land Trust and trying to keep conservation going around and protecting the wildlife, but also being respectful for the land itself. I mean, that's, so I share your thoughts, and I confirm that this is something that the commission has always been pretty insightful on, is how does it impact the land, and how does it impact what's going on here in Berlin. And we always try to let the developers develop, but they have to be respectful of the character that we're looking for here in town. But anyway, is there anything that you want?
No, we share that same concern. And that's why we built into this plan 56 acres of permanently conserved land, 19 acres being donated to the Berlin Land Trust. We've also arranged additional property, lot 93, be donated to the land trust to actually serve as a buffer to preserve Ragged Mountain and protect Ragged Mountain.
And isn't there a walking trail that's being proposed for that complex? That, as part of your proposal, I think you have walking trails as well.
I don't believe there's any walking trails, no, I'm trying to keep it as undisturbed as possible. Mark can talk to the specifics of the trail system. The trail system, there are some, I guess, uncharted trails all over the mountain.
Oh, but I meant within your complex.
No, I don't believe there is.
There's no pathway or whatever.
No, there's no trail system within 20 acre.
Okay, all right.
Can I-
But you do have access to the trail system just by going through the private road system, West Land and the trail system.
Yeah.
We're immediately adjacent to it.
Exactly.
Chairwoman, I think the trail that was mentioned is the, you have a golf cart trail that goes to the
Yes.
club.
Yes, we also have that golf cart trail and the sheds to try to service.
Okay, that's perhaps what I was thinking.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Brian. All right, thank you, Brianna. Is there anyone else from the public? Yes, Maureen. Okay.
They can clarify, because so many plans this week flows in my head, but there's sidewalks within the community as well, correct?
Correct, they're on one side of the road.
Good circulation.
So in the regulation, sidewalks count if they are connected to other trails and other areas. So I think the connection of the sidewalks to the cart path and to the garden area, et cetera, meets the path requirement in the regulation.
Okay.
It specifically states sidewalks that connect, that provide connectivity can be counted as walking areas.
Yeah, exactly. All right, any other commissioners have comments at this point? Okay, anyone else from the public, either here or on Zoom? No. Okay, Tim, did you have anything?
So I think, everything's been addressed, just on the comment of staff. And we can receive staff. information after, so we see if the others-
Well, yeah, so I guess,
So our staff can provide this, so you can see it's close. So
yeah, I mean, we do have the 5th of May coming up. And it would have been better at this point, as closing the public hearing as opposed to keeping it open one more go around. So is there any questions that the commission needs before we go into our deliberations on the project? Would we be able to ask for that attorney? Because we're asking the attorney to take that last step, just to finalize things on our behalf before we go into deliberation. So would it be wiser for us just to keep it open at this point? The public hearing.
That I believe is the discussion of the commission, if you feel that we may have provide information that you want some dialogue on. I think the strictest interpretation is he is part of staff. However, if there's any discussion, the commission, it doesn't have to the commission to decide whether we would rather keep conversation going.
All right, so,
However, the application
Yeah.
has to grant that.
I would-
I think he did at the beginning of the meeting. but
Well, I-
just checking.
all right, just before we do anything, because I just saw a gentleman back who raised his hand,
Yeah,
so.
my name is Mike Kozakowski. I live at 169 Porter's Pass.
Okay, Mr. Kozakowski, I'm asking you to use microphone up here, and the only reason being is that we have a recording, and we have a recording secretary who tries to work.
I guess my question is, how was it addressed with as far as the all the runoff and the wetlands issue? And how that will impact any kind of drainage?
Okay, well, I'll ask engineer here to explain it, because he would probably be able to answer it a quicker way than myself.
We have submitted all regulated areas, the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commissions, they have reviewed this thing extensively and approved this. The only real impact we have is this one driveway crossing here. But we are looking to mitigate that by the removal of invasive species that have propagated within this site. This development will help removal of invasive species seeds by kind of developing the old farm field area. So our biologists look at the site and determined that this site will actually proactively help decrease the amount of invasive species spreading out between this site and also on Same Mountain. We've had an extensive survey with regard to the endangered species on the site. The DEP has gone way out of its way to make sure that we are very careful and not finding any invasive species. We've done an extensive survey of the site and submitted reports to the state for the endangered species aspect. We found none on site. We've submitted drainage calculations to the town engineer who's reviewed all those calculations. He has not come back with any negative comments. Basically, we've got 40 detention areas that are holding back all of our stormwater. So we're not peak flow and leaving the site is not being decided like we're not adding any additional runoff to the site. So all in all, this site is going to sit very nicely on this piece of property. Not going to have an impact of flooding. We're sensitive to the wetlands and make sure we're not endangering any endangered species.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, okay, Diane.
There is just one
Yes.
item that I want to bring to your attention. And that is there is one other decision. If the commission determines to approve this project at some point, we propose to have a conservation easement for over 56 acres. The Berlin Land Trust has agreed to take that conservation easement. However, the commission may decide on their own that the town of Berlin may want to have conservation easement in their name. But in this situation, as a condition of approval, we review the Berlin Land Trust, unless the town of Berlin requires it.
Okay.
Some direction on that.
All right, something we'll have to consider as well.
I ask one question, one thing.
Yes.
On the conservation, we used to always put markers in the ground, make sure that the future property owners or condo association doesn't get into the area, and the markers we put, where that conservation is.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
would you be doing that or want to do that?
Yeah, we would be doing that. In fact, the proposed conservation easement, Dennis Kern from the Berlin Land Trust reviewed it. Things like that. That's part of it.
Just put those markers in there when they're trying to expand their
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other questions, comments? So, what's the pleasure of the commission?
My preference would be to keep the public hearing open, so that we do have the opportunity to ask for additional information, if needed.
Okay. Strong poll.
I would-
How possible, I'd like to make a couple comments for tonight.
Okay.
You
All right,
do
so-
have struggle, I just don't want you to make a vote to continue it before I,
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then.
before I get that.
All right. Well, do it for, if you're going to make the second, we can have it for discussion, right?
Oh, I don't think I actually need a motion.
Oh, you didn't mention, oh, she didn't make a motion. Okay, you're motionless. All right, let's go.
Okay, so, just as a reminder, and maybe for some of the newer commissioners, and as we're tweaking through and rushing through, writing staff reports in, from pulling from, stylistically, pulling from others as I, pull them, as Attorney Sullivan stated, the commission should be making certain findings, before you make conditions. And so where I put the commission to consider in my staff comments and recommendations, those are the things to consider, but condition of approval is consider, should the land trust take over the open space, et cetera. And I have marked up that staff report with how most of the outstanding items have been resolved. So I wanted to note that to everybody, and then in the next portion of that where I have comments, strictly comments, that's where I incorporated in the conditions recommended by the by planning staff, as well as the town engineer and the other town staff comments. So I just wanted that noted. I know Attorney Sullivan stated, but I want to state it again, that the town council did approve the conditional acceptance of the open space parking area, and that was encouraged by Conservation Commission as well, which is really great, and should alleviate the parking on West Lane to at least some degree. I don't know if you noticed as I was flipping through the documents to share on the screen, the copy of that letter I have on the screen did have Cole Engineering's letterhead on it, so I'm not really sure what the other version came from it, but I don't believe that she had some problems with some of the loading of graphics when we print things. Again, and I do want to reiterate or confirm that the applicant has been working with the town engineer back and forth, and the town engineer, aside from the comments that I incorporated in that are taken from his revised letter of yesterday, substantially satisfied. No comments, no further comments on the traffic report came in a separate email from him after getting the supplemental analysis from the traffic engineer, Scott Hester. And the other thing is, I noticed that we do have a number of people online, and based on the comments made, do want everyone aware that some of those details that they may be concerned with that may have been addressed during the earlier public hearing presentations that occurred on February 3rd, March 3rd, March 17th, and April 7th. And those YouTube videos are all available on the town website or through YouTube, really, through the library for the town, if anyone is looking for specific information or detailed response.
Perfect. Okay, so now, can you make a motion?
Motion or?
Can I make a comment?
Yes. I keep trying to. All right, that's all right.
Sorry about that.
No.
Jared Saraco, 259 Main Street, East Berlin. Quick question for the engineer. He mentioned that no endangered species were impacted. I was just wondering the other impacts to wildlife in the area. Since you guys did have a biologist look at this, I was wondering if there were any findings there. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Mark.
The main focus of the DEP was the endangered species. I'm sure there's going to be some species that are going to be impacted, but generally the habitat area around us, the larger site is probably way more significant to be able to handle this type of things, like a squirrel. I've seen squirrels right there, birds fly through there. So really, we have not looked at from an endangered standpoint of those species. I think if you look at some of those reports that were provided, you will see what they did find within those areas, but none of those species were endangered. That's clear enough for you. That's about all I can say, and I'm not a biologist, so.
All right, well, thank you.
All those reports were submitted to the commission. So,
Yeah.
The DEP preliminary letter and George Logan from REMA response to that. Many pages. So.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, Commission. Stronghold? Yeah. I will do a motion. No, I'll do a motion.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to May 5th.
Okay, Ms. Jorsey has a motion to continue this public hearing. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, second by Mr. Rogan. Further discussion on the item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're going to continue. That will take it to the last day, and hopefully we'll get everything in order and then we can close it out, start our deliberations, okay?
And we consent to that extension.
Okay, all right. Did we need an extension, Maureen? Okay. He's already said that before. Yeah, I didn't know if you needed anything in writing. But
I'm sure he'll send me the follow-up email tomorrow. But
terrific.
it's recorded.
All right, that's even better. All right, on to the public hearing B, which is the zone plan, the zone change application of 337 Berlin LLC to change the zone of the 337 Berlin Turnpike, map 4-4, block 127, lot 24, and 466 Deming Road, map 4-4, block 127, lot 1, from the BT2 zone to the BT1 zone. And then 51 Worthington Ridge, map 10-2, block 127, lot 23, from PI to the BT1. Okay, what is this about?
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, Mr. Sullivan, Attorney Sullivan, yes.
On behalf of the applicant, 337 Berlin LLC, the managing member of the applicant is John Sinise, who's not here tonight, couldn't make it. The applicant is seeking to change the zone on 3 parcels of land. 337 Berlin Turnpike. Now I can show you 337 Berlin Turnpike would be the area here on the map, the largest of the parcels. That's 7.83 acres. 466 Deming Road is the little corner parcel.
Okay, let me stop you right there, just so I can get my bearings. Where are
All right, so
you
this
saying
is
the Berlin
the
Turnpike?
Berlin Turnpike running north-south. You're at the intersection of Deming Road. This parcel would be the southeast corner of that intersection.
So is that the
Industrial.
industrial building? Okay, all right, where the road guy used to be, the
Yes.
Christmas tree?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
across from Home Depot. All right, okay, now I know where you are, thank you.
So the 337 Berlin Turnpike would be the largest parcel, as I indicated. 466 Deming Road would be this smaller parcel. Then 51 Worthington Ridge would be this parcel down here. So a rectangular piece of property. As the town planner Maureen has referenced in her staff comments, the commission amended the text of the BT1 zone to allow the next generation of motor vehicle fueling stations and convenience stores in the BT1 zone. So we are proposing at this time to rezone the BT2 designation of these 2 lots to BT1 and the PI zone, 51 Worthington Ridge, to the BT1 zone as well. That would allow this parcel to be developed in that state-of-the-art, next generation electronic motor vehicle fueling station, as well as a next generation convenience store, which we'll talk about more. This text change, last year, this commission may recall, we had a text change which allowed this next generation of convenience store and motor vehicle fueling station, and it was approved. To get some of the specifics, there was much discussion about these charging stations and how it takes sometimes at least 30 minutes to charge a vehicle, and the need to offer other amenities from these fueling stations and stores. And this is requiring convenience stores to expand in the 10, 12,000, sometimes 15,000 square feet in size. They offer fresh food kiosks, they offer indoor, outdoor dining, pet relief areas, and other rest area type amenities. The site of the proposed zone change is a perfect location for the next generation fuel station convenience store, which won't be your grandmother's convenience store, as they indicated on this site. The rezoning of the 2 parcels would be consistent with the plan of conservation and development. Let's start with 357 Berlin Turnpike and 466 Deming Road. Both are currently zoned BT2. The zoning regs define BT1 and BT2 as having the same general purpose. 337 Berlin Turnpike and 466 Deming Road are identified as TEDs on the Plan of Conservation and Development. In fact, they're the TED number 11 in the Plan of Conservation and Development. And Maureen's indicated this in her staff comments. The Plan of Conservation and Development creates a nexus between what's been known as TED 11, which is our lot, and TED number 4 and 5, which is directly across the street on the westerly side of the Berlin Turnpike. And that's a BT1 zone. So there is a nexus here, and this area creating the nexus, the Plan of Conservation and Development actually created a nexus between these two parcels. Maureen's brought it up on the screen now. Ours would be the BT2 designation. Just to the left of that, the BT1, just across the street. With the Plan of Conservation Development. Excuse me?
Am I going that one? Yeah.
This one,
Where's the BT 11?
BT1,
Two across.
I got it.
BT2,
Yeah,
And-
please,
but the Plan of Conservation and Development
oh, right here.
has created a nexus with the BT1 lot directly across the street, which a portion of that is the land development. And section 4.3 of the Plan of Conservation and Development. Just give me a second. I just want to read a couple of statements within the Plan of Conservation and Development that provides for under the Berlin Turnpike in the decade ahead. Plan of Conservation and Development indicates that new economic development opportunities may occur, which would be advantageous for the community to permit and embrace many of these new opportunities, such as electric charging vehicle stations and the new age convenience store. That's going, it's not even a convenience store, it's going to be like a superstore. We've seen some of them. It is recommended that most of the TEDs along the turnpike include regulatory provisions which would enable the Planning and Zoning Commission to use its discretion to accommodate potential economic growth enterprises and facilities. That's not built into the regulations. That type of flexibility isn't built into these regulations. And so the rezoning is necessary. The idea is to be flexible, to allow these new opportunities to take place within the community. Berlin has, in the Plan of Conservation and Development states that Berlin has an enhanced opportunity to capture new retail development, particularly near the Deming Road intersection. In some, the Berlin Turnpike and the TEDs thereon offer a prime development scenario for encouraging attractive and functional transformation of properties that are underperforming and make them into signature developments. This would be one of the first state-of-the-art electric charging vehicle stations in the state of Connecticut, with the amenities that go with it because of the time spent doing that. As the turnpike is transformed, this is consistent with it. 51 Worthington Ridge is currently zoned industrial. This is a very difficult site. I look at this lot as sort of an enigma. It's like somewhere stranded in the ether. It was previously non-conforming residential in the PI zone. Now the residence, you can see where the residence was. That's been demolished. So it's a vacant lot at this point. Neighboring properties to the south of Worthington Ridge are all non-conforming. One is a residential, one is a commercial with a dog kennel, and one's residential with a commercial building. Worthington Ridge currently provides no access to 51 Worthington Ridge. So I sent you a picture earlier today. As Worthington Ridge, I think everybody's familiar with the Worthington Ridge on the east side of the turnpike. And as you travel down to this site, it just dead ends now. And I have a picture of that dead end. The town is actually working with the property owner at 61 Worthington Ridge. And that right there, that sign is, zoom in on that. But it says, do not enter, road closed. To that effect. The northeast property, the building that we're talking about is that blue property to the rear of that picture. That is our property. And 51 would be where the trees are between the house and, but there is no access currently to 51. That horse denies access. And in fact, there was a release, what prompted that, there was a release filed, I didn't provide this earlier, but in 2016, the town of Berlin and the Board of Education released easement rights that they had to use part of that property because they intended on closing it off. And it's not, I don't believe it's been formally abandoned yet. We haven't determined that. I don't believe it's been formally abandoned. but there is no access to 51 Worthington Ridge at this time through that, through Worthington Ridge. All right, I was gonna, this is a release, I'll submit just for the record. That allowed, that release from the Board of Education kind of allowed that, that course that we put up. Previously, the Board of Education used to use that to go back and forth, to pick up school children and access out to Denny Road, as opposed to turn around and back out. It's now been closed off. The town of Braun, the Board of Education, as I stated, wetlands. You also have wetlands here on this site in the green line. So on this piece of property here, the green line represents the inland wetlands line. More than half of the property is under inland wetlands. The flood line is this dashed dark line here. So even more of the property is uncovered by environmental concerns. And then this red line here, that's the Mattabesset trunk line sanitary sewer easement. The easement runs from here to here. So this property is almost unusable. There are a lot of issues with this property, but I'd like to really go back to the picture, to the Google map picture that I submitted today. Because on top of this, you get a global picture of the PI zone. Of the Google map. It's not real clear. You can see just the largest structure. Orion's cursor is up. Come down a little bit more. Right? Yeah. It's like 5 o'clock. A little positive.
Oh,
Right there.
Okay.
That's the largest industrial site. And then just to the northeast of that, you hit White Oak, which you can't get here, but through Weathersfield Road. But if you look, the Mattabesset River is just about, there's the Mattabesset River there, cuts the dices through them. All of the industrial uses of this area is all to the east of the Mattabesset River. There are no industrial uses to the west of the Mattabesset River. So we're talking about this is the area here. There are no, it's designated because it's part of the same contiguous properties. It's been designated planned industrial, but it really sits on an island just to the west of the Mattabesset River. And it really should be connected. And it should be connected really to the north with the Denny Road, Rowan Turnpike. Everything east of everything west of the Mattabesset River really can't be developed as planned industrial. It's a very small little island that presently being used on that state for non-conforming residents and commercial dog kennel.
Quick question. You said the property is abandoned. Is it owned by your applicant or is it owned by the town?
Well, when I say abandoned, it's the road, Worthington Ridge, has not been abandoned yet. But it's been closed off.
Sorry.
I think the parcel is usable for my client. It's going to be able to provide an awful lot of screening in this area. We can aggregate the property and fully develop this entire corner. And this is what we tried to. This was our intent when we did the text amendment a year ago, and we presented this to the commission, and we received very favorable comments back that this is the direction everybody wanted to go with this corner and trying to redevelop. As the plan of conservation and development indicates, this is the type of old property that is part of the existing infrastructure that can be redeveloped and should be redeveloped. And in a major intersection like this is a opportunity to do that. That's really all I have tonight. I think it supports the rezoning of all three parcels to Rolling Turnpike 1 to allow for the development of this state-of-the-art convenience store and fueling station.
Okay, sure. And this is a zone change application, so.
Just a
it's
zone
not
change,
so-
yeah.
not site plan.
Nothing site specific.
Okay, okay, so do we have any questions from the commission at this point? Okay, anyone from the public? This is the,
This is the a public hearing, so yes, sir, if you can. Please come on down.
Hello there. President Economic Development Director, 40 Kensington Road. I've been working with the applicant for a while. As everybody knows, this property, which I like to call the tree and rug site, because that's basically what's been sold there for years and years, is currently zoned BT2. BT2 is a somewhat limiting zone. BT1 will allow more uses on the property. The nice thing about that is this is a major corner that we have. Mr. Sinise is a developer at Farmington who's done a lot of projects and look forward to seeing what he can do. Definitely in favor of the BT1 change. I know fueling station was talked as part of it. I believe the fueling station, if it's in place, still going to leave 6+ acres available all the way back to the retail building. And I'm excited about the opportunities that are here on this property, especially with the construction of the 88 units on Deming, and then hopefully there will be the groundbreaking of the 72 units behind the retail building next to Ashford. So I know right now there's definitely some needs in the marketplace, and we'd love to see this property as BT1 and help them get it developed and bring it back into a nice taxable entity and some jobs for town.
Okay, terrific, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wants to? Yes, sir.
Jared Sirocco, 259 Main Street, East Berlin. Quick question. You said next gen fueling and charging station and a convenience store. Is that the use that the investor intends to do?
Yes.
Okay. I support this project.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who wants to address the commission regarding this application? This is a zone change application. All right, commission. So, what's with the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
We're in public hearing.
Public hearing.
Sorry, wait.
All right, yeah.
I only can get out of public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Joyce. Do we have a second?
Second.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Paul. And further discussion on this zone change application. So all those in favor of closing the public hearing, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. Public hearing is closed. Okay, on to this item C. Special permit use application for Joey's Place at ABA Services of Connecticut for a child care and preschool learning center at a portion of 1261 Berlin Turnpike in the SP-BD zone. Yes, hi, come on down, use the microphone. No, that's all right, arrange it
Okay,
where you want.
I am a part owner and clinical director of the agency, that company that we opened. We opened it in 2017, but we did not have a place that would be conveniently located for all of our clients because we're serving north and south of Connecticut, central Connecticut. And when it was for us already, we were stable enough to have a center. We were choosing Berlin because it was perfect. It was right in the middle. It was only Route 9. It was, everything was perfect. So we ended up finding a great place. And the only thing we didn't think of was the fact that we work with kids. Mostly we provide therapy in the houses because, so bottom line is ABA is a therapy designed for kids with autism. That's our specialty.
Okay.
That's what we do. So we are insurance paid at-home service provider. So we go, insurance calls us or client calls us and says, hi, I have a child who we need for services. We have diagnosis, we have coverage. Could you provide service? And we go do assessment, design programs, send therapists, and kid gets therapy in the house. That's what we did primarily before. But now, because of the our clientele growing, and now they're asking us, okay, he's gaining so many skills, but we need him to socialize. We need him to have opportunity to be with other kids. And that's where we decided that we should go even further. And we decided to go for preschool, as a private preschool / daycare setting. We don't plan to have it big because it's simply size-wise, we don't have enough. We have plenty of room right now, but if it will be something ginormous, we probably would be able to do it, or we will have to move to another place. But at this point right now, we want to give it a shot. And what's happening is, first of all, every single parent is excited. They're bombarding us if we will be able to do it before summer. So they want a summer program for kids who do not have places to go in the summer. So also we have mom and dads who are asking us about, is there any chance for normotypical kids to go with their autistic siblings together? So we are getting a lot of need. And considering that we have great stuff, we have excellent environment, and I have 30 years of experience of doing what I'm doing in every single environment, you name it, and every single place in the earth, and I'm talking like internationally. And my partner and my second half, I would say, I mean, she is BCBA just like me, but she also brilliant manager. I'm a clinical person. I don't know how to count money. She knows how to count money. So she.
You always need one of those.
I totally, I mean, I will be in charge of anything financially, everybody will go broke. But so she is phenomenal. And so I'm here, she's right there, Christine Brewer. So our office manager, Corey Waters, is there also shaking. Kristen Mercado is one of our lead clinicians, and she is also our director of training and staff development, and she also a junior partner. So we all very much invested into this. Now, okay, so you have our pictures, right?
While she's looking for the picture, let me just ask you to state your name and address.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I just want to make sure our recording secretary.
This is there. Oh, no. Okay, so my name is Marina Azimova. I am Master of Social Work, Master of Education, board certified behavior analyst, and that's about it.
And your address?
And my address is 174 Mohawk Drive, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay, terrific. That's, I just needed that for the record.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
So, one second, I just wanna show you the picture, so I will not be just.
She's trying to get there, so.
I saw it several times when you were looking for other stuff. Oh, let's stay there right now.
Okay, she's gonna stay there.
Okay, so, this is, okay, this is, I don't know if you're familiar with, Place. It's like office building.
Is this the Berlin Turnpike, the old King?
Yeah.
Okay, right, all right.
That's
So-
outside access is the south of the Route 9 intersection.
Yes.
Of Middletown Road. And we've looked at it as a multi-tenant commercial space at a couple of previous meetings, last meeting.
Okay.
But this is a special permit use because of the school nature of it, specifically, so that's why it's coming here.
Okay.
So, right now it's zoned for office space.
Yeah.
But, we're not gonna, so it's not going to be anything like medical pediatric where we need to have, I don't know, a super extraordinary environment. What we need is your permission and after your permission, getting in touch with district education authorities and going from there, hopefully have enough time to open it for summer, if not, at least for fall of the next school year.
Yeah.
So we had levels and everything. There, I have no idea what they did, but we, our people looked around, absolutely flat backyard. I don't know if can you make it a little bit bigger? So a little bit bigger. And then oh, perfect, fantastic. So see that rectangle between two buildings, that of empty spot, yes.
Yeah.
That's the rectangle that has entrance from our kitchen. So basically, we can go in the common area from the kitchen, where kids, we have in the kitchen, refrigerator, microwave, water source, you name it. Everything is there. And right out of that kitchen, we can go outside in a little like common area. And then from that common area, we can go in that little rectangular place. Now, we look through and we look through safety measurements and everything. And this is enough room for us to have a swing set, especially the one I picked design that perfectly matches safety need in terms of empty space around it. We're also going to have sandbox, and we're going to have 2 picnic tables in there where kids can eat outside, if weather permits, of course. And so we equipped this nice kitchen to have kids fed. We equipped with nice space to have play area, because without it, there's no way any kind of educational people will approve us.
Yeah.
If we have little kids, we must have place for them to be in the fresh air. So, and we have 3 rooms inside our building that are already prepared. We bought stuff for them to go in and just do what they need to do. We have classroom, and we have 2 separate rooms, which one is room for discrete trial instruction, which I will explain to you in a second. It's what you do when kids cannot learn in a big amount of people. So we take that kid outside in that little room. There is 3 little tables in that room, 3 little desks. I wish you would see it. It's really cute. So 3 little desks with lights and everything, very much measured, and place for 3 adults to be there. And if we have a child who cannot tolerate learning within a classroom environment, taking that child out to work with him one-on-one, and then reintroduce back a little bit of the time to teach him to tolerate noise, ability, need for paying attention to others, not just to himself, react to frontal instruction, and all other things that normally autistic kids have deficits of. But important part is if our idea of engaging siblings will work, we also will be able to have somewhat inclusive environment where normal typical kids will be able to be a sample or somebody they can imitate for kids in our care. Assumption is, and we calculated that we will start no more than like between 6 and 10 kids, no more than that. But we don't want to put exact number of per age, because while we were discussing little preschool / daycare, we got a phone call from one of our moms, and she said, I cannot deal with his behavior at home because he absolutely refused to do homework. So she said, do you have tutoring service? And we're like, okay, we don't, but we should probably think about it. So, so we have a room to do it. Right now, we just need your permission to do it officially.
Just let me ask you a question. Are you taking over the whole building?
Oh, no.
Oh.
We don't have this much money.
Well,
No.
I'm
No,
hearing
but,
playgrounds and everything else. is like-
It's a first floor, so it's a first floor of that thing that skinny thing.
At the bottom?
Yeah, okay, can I?
You mean the
Yes.
connector?
Yes, that is the first floor of that. And we also, if you can see a little
Down.
side, that's where we ending.
Okay,
That's where end of our building is.
so
We
you're,
are all first floor of that rectangle.
okay, so the bottom portion of the building will
Of,
not?
yeah, bottom portion of rectangle that is skinny. Do you see two fat buildings on the sides? We are skinny ones in the middle.
All right, so you're the skinny ones in the middle, but you don't have anything to do with the fat building at the bottom or the fat building at the top, right?
No, we're
Okay.
only bottom floor of a skinny building.
All righty. And you said it's gonna be 6 to 10 students, maybe?
6 to 10 students is our initial plan. We will be growing and we will have to look for another place. But as of now, tentatively looking for geographical, how many parents are looking into it and reasonably close to Berlin. We can see right now, feasibly, it's 6 to 10 kids.
Where is your business now?
In there, it's our center.
Okay, but is it in this building or is it in
Is
another?
it that building? In that building, we have 3.
Excuse me for 1 second. Could you just move so that you're talking into the microphone?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because listen,
I keep forgetting that.
No, that's okay. We get excited over here.
Yeah, okay. So, I wish this would be drawing board because I would love to draw for you and I draw really good. Okay, so,
I have no doubt. So is your business currently in Berlin?
in there, right in
Oh,
there.
so
in
you're
that building.
already there.
We are already there. We
Oh,
just
okay.
want part of that space that we're occupying right now,
Oh, I see. So you're
use as a
expanding.
daycare and a preschool, because we have several rooms that we can use for them.
Okay.
And because
Yeah.
most of our stuff is not in, most of our stuff in the houses.
I see where you're going. All right.
We only administrators are in there.
Ha, ha.
Only 3 directors and receptionist and occasionally a realtor who's got it for us.
Okay.
We do have a bunch of people coming in once a month when we have trainings for stuff.
Okay,
But-
now I understand. So this is basically, you're currently in the building, you're looking to occupy more of the building.
Exactly,
All right, now I know.
exactly.
Now
Oh
I
my
know.
goodness, was I that unclear? Oh my
No, no.
I'm so
no,
sorry.
No, it wasn't that. I was following your story.
Okay.
And I thought you were moving into town.
Oh, no, we moved in. We moved in
Oh, okay.
in July.
In the dead of night. Okay.
In July of last year.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm having fun with you. I think you're delightful. You really are.
Thank
And
you.
your enthusiasm definitely just pours over here. All right, so we
Okay,
have.
as long as it helps.
Yes, it does.
Okay,
It always
good.
does. Enthusiasm. Okay, questions? Yes.
Yes.
So if you're to have 6 to 8 students,
Mhm,
how
6 to
many-
10.
6 to 10, I'm sorry, 6 to 10 students, how many staff would you need to have there in order to accommodate that?
Every single student that we will have has therapists. They don't just come to us. They already receiving services with us. So they have therapists assigned. But if they're coming with sibling, those sibling will not be therapist assigned. So we have a one-on-one for every single kid with diagnosis.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Question, anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the staff comments, I guess my questions would be pretty much in line with what they are with, as far as you parking and drop off.
There's plenty of parking, like 18 spots, if not more. I think it's 18.
Yeah. Well, my guess, my thing is it's very abstract. I like the sound of it, but is there gonna be like a designated drop off area where the kids can safely get into the building?
We will have to talk to our landlord to do the lines on the grounds. But unless we are approved for zoning, we can't even get started with that.
Anyone else? All right, I know that we're in public hearing on this, so is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the commission regarding this application? Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, no problem. Okay, here you go. Okay, so,
Copy of my card first.
wonderful.
Thank
Oh
you.
gosh, I should have been mine.
No, it's okay. I'll apologize in advance. You're gonna hear from me a lot tonight. I'm excited because, ooh, wow. Loud,
It's,
very loud. I'm excited because this, oh, hey. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
it's not my energy.
Back up a little. You're too close. Yeah, try it on that.
I don't actually need it, but
What happened?
Okay, now we're good. You could just talk regular, Chris.
anyway, I'm excited because this is a growth area that we've seen in the last 24 months here in town. As a parent with a child with autism who, when he was younger, had received services, it kind of hits me right here with Focus, which had come in a year or so ago, somewhere over the spectrum, and now with ABA and Joey's Place. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a tremendous service needed for working parents who really don't have a choice on what to do except potentially a full-time caregiver. I think it's wonderful because this building has sat vacant for a while, as we all know. I think this is the third application we've seen for approval in literally 12 months. So I think it's wonderful to have the energy. A lot of great things happening at this building. So I greatly supported this and look forward to learning more and celebrating the growth with them.
Okay.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
All right, anyone else from the commission? And
Anyone from the public, either on Zoom or in person? Okay.
My guys on Zoom, they're not visible, they're covered by.
Well, that's all right. Well, she would know whether or not they were away.
Yes.
anyway. Okay, yes, sir. You're becoming quite
I know.
popular tonight. Jesus.
Jared Sirocco, 259 Main Street. I support the rezon.
In the
All
summer.
right, thank you very much. Commission, anything, or what's the pleasure of commission? Yes, okay, yes, Maureen, sorry, gotta go to the notes.
So one of my comments was with regard to the parking and drop off area. Given the configuration of the site and that it has what seems to be plenty of parking for the uses that are currently at the building and a sidewalk system established within the site, I think that if the commission was inclined to approve the application, I would ask that the drop off and logistics be subject to staff approval if you don't keep the public hearing open for you to receive that information yourselves. I would like at least staff to weigh in on that being safe.
Can you clarify what specifically should we clarify?
It would be a matter of, how children would safely traverse from parking spaces to a classroom space, or to meet the teacher, in what areas, and whether or not certain parking spaces would be designated for this, specifically for this use and drop off. I would want our regulators that may be involved, whether it be if there's a need for handicap spaces related to this use, so the building department perhaps to weigh in on what the distancing is that's required, or the fire marshal, he would of course have to, regardless, any of the sign-offs would have to be approved. which is, you know, that's typical for any building permit or new use or licensing of use of the building. But we want to just make sure that that's all safe.
Should I answer?
So you can, if you wish.
Okay, so, we already, should I bring it
Yeah,
back?
I would bring it back a little bit. Okay. Okay.
Hello?
That's all right, we can hear you. Oh,
Hello. Okay, so, right now, we have already, every Saturday, we have social skills groups. So it's, in the morning group, we have four kids, who are, ages from, 5 to 7. And I and two of my coworkers, we have social skills group, and we, through play, teaching them to communicate with each other, to share, to instead of pushing each other to use words and many other things. So how it's normally happening, they, first of all, when we were looking for the place, we were looking for handicap equipped territory. So second of all, two disabled spots, two spots for disabled vehicles are right next to our door. So, and also, we are typically have therapists walking to the car and taking kids to the building. Sometimes some kids, again, autism is very different for every kid. There's no identical autistic kids. My professor back at Penn State was saying, if you met one autistic kid, you only met one autistic kid. So you cannot generalize autism. But there is some kids who, for example, will not go in a building without mom. But those kids, we have waiting area, come in with mom sitting in a chair, and somebody comes out to get the child and support him to get into social skills room. So we're already doing it. Our first group is 4 kids, our second group is 4 kids. We have 2 4 kids groups. One is from 5 to 7 years old, and the second one is 8 to 11. And we have two groups already on Saturdays. So each of them is one hour long. If you will ever want to come and visit, I should tell you, I probably will not let you because confidentiality, but but generally speaking, if you would like to have some, I don't know, illustrations or anything like that, we have kids whose parents signed off on video and photographing, so we can do that. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is this, all of us, me, Christine, Krista, we all already been at houses, in centers, in schools. We know what transportation does. We know how it's safely occurring, and we know how to manage the process.
Let me ask you a question, and this is just because you made point that you wanted to utilize the outside area in the back. You know, I do not have any history with or experience with autism. So I guess my question is, are the children always with somebody? In other words, there's no chance that somebody could wander
Okay.
off or be attracted by something and be
we
pulled
are-
away.
We are going to have fence. There is a
Okay.
fence. This, do you see, it's gonna be fence that parallel to the wall of our building,
Oh, okay.
right there. On the
okay.
picture, you can see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought we had a picture of it.
All right.
That's what
I
I.
kind
All right,
of,
but so there's.
I actually, this is my ugly drawing, but you can take a look. We already measured all of this. Here we go. It's my, stop, if you wanna take a look. We measured
Yeah.
everything and it's,
These are all the same?
they're all the same.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
copy of the same picture.
All right, so we'll keep one for record.
That one passed.
All right.
So, bottom line is, we already even picked. So we measured everything, we looked through how much space each of those pictures require, each of those items required. We found the one within our budget that is safe, and we already kind of thinking of, is it gonna be mulch or is it gonna, so we
Yeah,
have sort of, yes.
You're already in the process. of
Yes,
planning.
but again, we need to go over the
Yeah.
first step, and that first step
Is us.
is.
All right, any other questions?
Can I
Yes.
ask clarification that on the drawing that I thought was scanned, and I'm sorry it's not, but they had, and maybe it's being. If there was an X area here with, it's showing fencing around it.
Oh,
So
yes,
to
yes,
contain it.
yes. Yes,
Okay.
and we already measured, and I have 3 company, I wanna ask for prices to compare and see which one will be the best for us to do the fence. But it's very, very, like, it was made for us, literally.
You're very happy with, okay,
And the fence would have to come through our office
yeah,
prior to installation regardless.
Oh, absolutely.
I also just want to comment before I skip over it, that someone online just commented that they have a question.
okay.
I believe it's with regard to this one, given the timing,
Christine,
so.
Okay, can you read the question?
She just said I have a question, so she's
Okay.
online, so.
All right, so do we have somebody?
was it you asking question?
Can I comment?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, so
That's your
the,
favorite.
in terms of the parking, because there was a question about parking, so in terms of the parking, the lawyer that we spoke to beforehand indicated that the space that we're in was previously zoned for a school, and for a private school. So it already has the special permit for the private school. And our landlord said that tutoring, it was a zoned activity that we could already engage in. So we're looking for the daycare zoning, right? And so in terms of the parking, there's parking spots right in front of the building, so the kids would walk in with their parents. And there's handicap parking spots in front of the building for them to walk in with their parents if need be. Does that help answer the question?
So she repeats what I said.
Okay, I just want to have your name before you go away. Can I have your name?
Can you?
Oh, sorry, Christine Brewer. And I'm
Okay.
from
Yeah, go ahead.
ABA Services of CT. And do you want our
What is your
office,
address, Christine?
my personal address or the office
Yeah.
address?
No, personal address, because.
Yep,
Yeah.
281 Route 163, Uncasville.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted that for the record. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I appreciate you. Anyway, any other questions, comments from the public, comments from the commission?
I just have a quick comment.
Oh, okay.
Just,
I'll get right to it.
okay, just going through your comments again, there's a couple little department comments from fire marshal, building official, health district. Just
Want to make sure they're addressed?
Just make sure they're just, it's simply
Absolutely.
simple housekeeping, but just wanted it on the record.
It's on our list to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
All right. And Tim?
Yeah.
Questions?
My question was basically the same thing, but, the owner of the building is not here.
We've been in touch with him. Dawn is his manager. She basically was preparing all those pictures that you just saw.
The code updates to the facility and, that the building inspector and the fire marshal is saying, plus the licenses. I'd like to see that, some kind of commitment from the building owner that they will be doing all these, code, improvements. This building, the center part of that building built in 1950 and added in 1989, so the codes have.
Oh, okay, so we're looking for the building inspector and the
So they
electrical.
gotta be, it's gotta be brought up in codes to have, classrooms or this type of thing in here. So, gotta get commitment to someone who's gonna build it.
We had a conversation with building owner, and I think he likes us because we paid rent year ahead. So and if he wants to stay, we paid year ahead. He probably should be helping us.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Just the commitment from the,
We're gonna.
building owner that it will be brought up to codes, whatever the fire marshal and building official.
Absolutely, it's on our list to do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anyone else? What's your motion? We have a motion for a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay. And we have the motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second? Second. All righty, so we have Mr. Rogan with the motion, the second with Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. All right, so we've closed the public hearing. We're gonna circle on back along with the others and see if we can reach a decision tonight. So just sit tight.
Thank
Don't
you.
hurt your part.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
No problem, thank you. All right, next up is the special site plan for, plan application of the Shuttle Meadow Development LLC for the multifamily development at 309 Main Street, East Berlin. Do we have anyone here for that? Or 309 Main Street? Are they, wait a minute, wait, this is, I think we have, they're pending wetlands, right?
Well, they are pending wetlands, however, when they were postponed last meeting,
Uh-huh.
and I had the discussion with them,
Mhm.
immediately after that meeting. They indicated that they wanted to open the public hearing tonight so that they could explain the application, knowing it would have to be left open for wetlands, but
But if they're not
because
here,
you can't, you would need the determination from wetlands prior to closing, or you have to have the determination from wetlands prior to your closing. But no, I'm not seeing the applicants here.
So- well, all right, well, we don't wanna, if we're not ready to open the public hearing, there's
They're,
no one here to present anything to us, so
Well,
we just kind of pass it on.
do you want?
anyone can speak on it, it's a public hearing, anyone can speak on it. The applicant doesn't have to be here to.
The
How I know what the
The
heck we're talking
issue,
about.
so if you open it, the timeline starts to close it. Although,
I mean, I would hate
I
to,
have to check our timelines, because you may have to open it tonight. Hold on, let me double check
All
our
right.
Timeline,
sorry about this.
or get an exception to keep it open. And of course, the timeline to close is only 35 days. More days to keep open, but I do think we're hitting the most restricted date. And I usually would suggest that just because life happens, accidents, whatever, that if you skip over the item for now and come back to it just before the end of the night to make sure you don't want to. Or that they aren't here, don't arrive late.
Well,
Late already.
2 hours later.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
it's
2 hours
already,
already.
so
I don't
let
know.
me just check the dates.
Yeah, because if we're, I'll be honest with you, if we're waiting for inland wetlands, I don't know, I'm not compelled to open it, if there's nobody here to present.
We gotta open it up.
So
Yeah, well, she's gonna see if we
we
can
did
just.
get an extension to open it to tonight. That was the last extension granted. But they did not, but we don't know that they're not in.
So you know, we open it or close it tonight.
So,
Oh, it's-
well, no, I
Either
mean,
we open it or close it tight, because the extension is not there.
I thought you were open and close, how can
Either
you
or.
open it and not have it something?
It sounds like Chris may be making a phone call.
Well, Chris was making a phone call
And
about,
to see if they can grant
You know,
an
because this
extension,
is-
I hope.
Yeah.
That best case scenario is,
you get a call tomorrow
we
morning.
get a call that grants the extension or the
Yeah, they
extension
probably slept
granted
through
over
it.
the telephone.
Mhm.
That's best case scenario.
All right, because I mean, I don't want to deny anyone a chance to be heard, but on the other hand, we have a big agenda, we also have folks out here
You
who
can,
are.
But alternatively, you can open it and then we'll get the extension to keep it open if necessary after the next meeting.
Okay, what would the commission
Yeah,
like to
35
do?
days, that's
I-
2
I-
meetings.
Personally, I would open it, any comments that we want to get
Okay,
comments.
all right,
And
okay,
then, the clock starts running.
all right. So we'll open this public hearing and that is going to be for that 309 Main Street. I don't know what the presentation is, but I'll take any comments. I'll make note of it and so go right ahead. Come on up and.
So just so you know what this is for 17 units to be developed next to the other Main Street property that was developed a few years back. Just to give you an idea, multifamily residential, I believe. But I am not the project.
No, you're not.
Just for you guys.
Okay, thank you. And so your comment is,
I'm Jared Sirocco. I live at 259 Main Street, East Berlin. Right down the street from the property. I could throw a stone to the property. Let me just pull my notes up. My first question to be addressed for this was, when was that property rezoned from residential? Might have happened during COVID, but I wasn't clear on that. And then, since I'm just gonna be listing and no one's gonna be answering, I want to know what the total build envelope for the property is. The proposal that they submitted says it was a 6 and change acre property. I would like to know how much of it is going to be used to build the 17 units. I'm also interested on whether or not the town of Berlin is changing the development for that area, Main Street, since we're off of 372 now and moving multifamily developments down Main Street. Will they consider all Main Street residents the ability to rezone their property if interested? Also interested in the environmental impact to the wetlands, which seems to be under review, and that's why they're not here tonight. In the proposal, they commented on traffic noise. After the last development, traffic noise increased significantly. So did foot traffic on the road, and there's no sidewalks on Main Street. So my question for the town is, please consider a sidewalk and speed bumps on the road if approved for this project. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to address?
anyone else wants to address this project to the board? Yes. Okay. Commission, I have nothing at this point, but go ahead.
I can quickly answer one question.
Okay, she can answer a question.
Well, I can partially answer it. So I'm looking at the zoning map that was published at least back in 2016 was the last revision on this, the print of the map itself, the official print. And this lot was designated as POR, which is planned office residential, which allows for this type of development back to that date. So it was not a COVID, it was not a zone rezoning that would have happened in the last couple of years. I believe it's been zoned that well before that, but that's the reference date I have in front of me.
Okay.
So that was a quick question.
All right.
I could answer quickly,
Okay, so back in 2016,
at least.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make the motion to continue then until our next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Rogan, do we have a second? We have a second by Ms. Jorsy, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Continuation? Aye. Those opposed? Anyone? So moved. All right, on to the special permit application and unified site plan for Sebastian Malaspini for properties at 202-212 Mill Street, map 10-3, block 86, lots 5 and 5A, in the CCD 2 zone for residential apartments, a fast food restaurant at lot 5, 202 Mill Street, and the addition of a drive-through lane at drive A, 5A, 202 Mill Street. All right. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for your patience, guys.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the commission, my name is Ozzy Torres, and I'm a professional engineer here in Connecticut and Massachusetts. My office is at 63 Reed Drive, Weathersfield, Connecticut. I'm here representing Sebi Sebastian Malaspini from the Adrenia House, the flower shop that you all know is down on Mill Street. And basically, he is going to make some improvements and
Can I interrupt for one moment?
Yes.
So I have gotten a message today, this afternoon, pretty late, that you are going to be emailing me plans.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
yes.
Okay, because I don't have that. Are
Oh,
you, okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
No, I
So,
talked to Fran and we got it sent to you and she said she would let you know that it was there, so.
I checked and it wasn't, I just checked again,
Well, we
so.
brought plans just in case, so.
Okay.
So I will point this to you. A little bit, they can see it too. Would
Okay,
that be fine?
that's fine, that's fine.
Great.
Sorry for that.
No,
Problem,
don't worry.
No,
I'm
no.
suspecting the file size is too large to get through our wall.
Oh, I see, maybe that's what it is. Maybe. It was like 5 megs. Okay, so basically, the existing parcel on Mill Street is shown here where we have the farm, sorry, commercial is the main building in the middle, and to the east of it is what is presently an insurance building, office building. The parking as it exists now is surrounding the building, both buildings actually. People can drive in from Mill Street.
That's a nasty microphone. Sorry about that. I apologize.
No problem. They can drive in from Mill Street on either driveway presently. We have parking all around the buildings, serving those both buildings. The insurance building has the business downstairs insurance and upstairs is the residential, small residential unit. There's a small garage presently at the east corner of the parcel. The parcel is made up of two parcels. One is 1.09 acres, which is what the flower shop, where the flower shop is now. And then the other parcel comes along the side. That is 1.17 acres. Presently, the entire area slopes down toward the wetlands. This is the wetlands, as you see it dashed shown on the plan. There's a floodplain as well, and that's shown on our plan. Now, we did go to wetlands and we did get approval for our proposed plan. I'll just let you know now. We're able to show you what we're proposing to do with the rest of the site. On January 4th of this year, we received approval from wetlands. And the wetlands was flagged by George Logan. And it's all designated on the plan, and there's a signature block. So he also was with us at the meeting. The proposed layout, you give me a moment, please.
We do have the scan of the package.
Yes, you do.
So now I do have some of the scan.
Oh, you do? Oh, there you go. Oh,
I don't think, but.
oh, it doesn't work. There's no something. You can't point to it. Too bad. Okay, so this is a plan that shows what we're proposing to do. Now, we have the existing flower shop, a new building that's a new building which is, sorry, the dimensions are 50 by 40, am I correct? Okay, it's by 40. And now what we're proposing is a retail downstairs and then upstairs, 2 residential units. Basically half of the building each. The flower shop will have 1,200 square feet, first floor for a small coffee shop type of service that will have a drive-through go through. Sebby's daughter will be running the shop, so he's really excited about that. Don't blame him. The first floor is 1,200 square feet of fast food and 2,000 retail for the flower shop. And the upstairs will have, again, maybe two residential units upstairs. The 212 lot, which is this other lot that goes around here in Mill Street, and that's the insurance building. The 212 has 1,250 square feet of office space. And then we will have 1 apartment upstairs in that building. There's also a garage that's used for storage for this facility, so that small garage is going to remain for storage. Now, on our plan, we have a chart, a zoning chart. I'm sorry, it's on the, you can turn that plan on for the layout plan. That's it. That's it? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
this is the
That
layout
is the
plan
plan.
with the
On the
zone.
left-hand corner of the bottom, there's a chart on that plan. We had the zoning chart, and below that, yes, we raised the plan up. There you go, great. The zoning chart shows all the existing and proposed zoning requirements, and we've pretty much accommodated them all. There may be a non-conformance existing, but all in all, it's all there. And below it, we show all the parking requirements for each of the uses that I have just mentioned. So there's a whole parking chart as to how we determine that we have 48 spaces required and we're proposing 49. So that's what's shown on the plan. All these parking spaces here, plus the spaces behind the insurance building, all add up to 49 spaces. The circulation will be from Mill Street, and on this proposed plan, it'll be an entrance only, where it used to be a 2-way entrance, now will be 1 single entrance, and then we'll come around, serve the coffee shop and the flower shop. Fast use, actually, you're going to be selling some of the flowers through the same window. basically, besides just coffee, you can also pick up the goods as you buy in the shop instead of just carrying them out to the car. So that will be here and it will be going out. So this first driveway will just serve traffic coming in and from east and west. And the other driveway will take care of all the outgoing traffic from the insurance office, which will have the parking behind it. And then there'll be additional parking added. The original parking area came to about where this line is right here. So now we are adding these spaces along the bottom of the parcel. There will be a dumpster in this corner that will serve all of these buildings. So and it is screened and it's shown in the detail sheet as such. Now, the utilities presently come in from Mill Street. We get the sanitary connections already there to the existing building and to the insurance building, small building. And the new building will have a new connection. We're going to bring it out to Mill Street and connect to the sewer. I'm sorry, we'll bring it to the sewer line. The sewer, I'm sorry, it's on this, it's in the green grass area. All right, the sewer is in the grass area, so we're going to be connecting a new sewer line to the sewer, and these already have the sewer facilities. The other utilities is water. Water is on the other side of Mill Street, so we're crossing it there to serve the new building. The existing two buildings already have the water service. Drainage presently occurs coming off the parking areas and the buildings. The buildings, the two existing buildings already have roof drainage on them, and they're connected to a small pipe system that discharges right about here and out to the wetlands presently. The new plan, we have a drainage plan here.
And on the utilities plan,
Okay,
is
good.
that a good plan?
Yes, that's a good plan. Great, and that's the erosion control. That's good. You got that. Okay, so on this plan that we have on the screen, we see that the drainage was proposed to go out into the state highway. And we have revised that because we met with DOT. I was going to mention that coming up, that we have met with the Department of Transportation early because it was a concern of the 3 spaces. We spoke to staff. 3 entrances, I'm sorry, on that plan. So that plan is an older plan. The new plan, as you can see, has only the 2 driveways, and the other driveway has been taken out for the insurance building. So DOT told us that they would like to see that driveway not used. They would like to see just the one-way in and one-way out. And we've done that. So they usually don't approve their plans until after we get town approval. So we will be going back, but at least they gave us their feelings ahead of time, which was great. So we just come to you with a plan that they're going to accept. It's approved. They also did not want any drainage from our site into that large state area. So our new plan shows the drainage connecting back into the storm system and going, we're draining everything back into our property. We're not putting any additional drainage out in the state property. And even this plan shows that there's that sanitary line that exists. So that they don't have a problem with us connecting the sanitary to that, but for the new building. But they do not want our stormwater in their property. So we changed it. The erosion control, and if you bring up the C4 erosion control on these, It's basically the same plan except for that driveway. Right. Well, we submitted erosion control to wetlands, and it was all reviewed and approved. In the wetlands application and approval, we were able to excavate in the wetlands to get rid of the fill and a pipe that was illegally placed there. There's a pipe in the ground here in the wetlands. And what we proposed was that we take that pipe out and get rid of the fill. And in doing so, we provided enough volume to cover the increase in runoff, plus all the fill that we would use to build this proposed plan. And those were all submitted in our drainage calculations that went to staff to review it. It was all approved for wetlands at that time. So what we showed in our drainage calculations is that the volume of increased runoff plus the volume of any of the grading has been taken care of by the cross-sectional removal of the soil from the wetlands and from the back portion of the parcel. Our set of plans, and I don't know if you have that, Maureen, the cross-section that are part of this. There's a cross-section pattern where we did the cross-section, and then as you go on to the next plan, we actually show all the calculations. And keep on going one more. I'm sorry, that's the detail. Okay. So all the cross sections, okay, they're all there. Match the calculations that were submitted in the drainage report, and they proved that what we excavate and fill ends up in a net cut, so that we will end up with 1,000 cubic feet of storage beyond what is needed to balance off the increase in runoff and the increase in grade. So all of that was submitted to the town during the wetlands application and was approved. Now, the detail sheet, one, you can get to it when you can, please. The detail sheet shows all the details for retaining walls, dumpster pad, accessible parking. And we also calculated the size and shape of the splash pads that would go to collect the stormwater and burn it back off into the wetlands. So all those details are provided, as well as erosion control details. You can see there. The retaining walls that we're showing are being designed by the structural engineer. So we'll have that submitted as well to cover those retaining walls. We were planning on using interlocking walls, but we were told that it might be less expensive to use actually concrete wall with steel rods as a normal type of retaining wall. And we will have that design for review. But basically, our plan shows one or the other method. This one was one method, and we think we may end up with regular retaining walls. I think that covers all of the information I have. Like I said, we have an erosion control plan that was approved through wetlands, but I mean, this commission may also get a chance to look at it, although engineering and staff has reviewed that erosion control plan. I think that answers as much as I can see here, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad.
Terrific. So we, Maureen.
So just right off the top, just let you know that the planner comments are pending on this application, and the engineer comments on the revised plans, which are the plans he's described with the changed driveway and drainage, are also still.
So we got a lot of stuff on there. Commission, do we have any comments at this time?
I believe your packages are, that is today, that you should have it, or that you just had the plan set to be stamped received April 13th. On the front page of that is the revised set. Loaded set on the computer was the initial application, the plan set before it was distributed with the updated set.
Yeah, April 13th.
As he described.
We'll send you another set in 2 pieces.
Yeah.
So.
So we're still waiting on a lot of information, so Tim.
Yes, one question is, how high is those retaining walls?
Right. They're about 6.5 to 8 feet. They're in a range from 5.5, and then in one area to maybe as high as 8 feet.
So anything above 4 feet, that's the
Yes, that's why we went to a structural engineer to engineer it for us. And if you look at the plan, the place where we're talking about the tall walls is in the back.
Yeah.
Where we were looking for volume to, compensate for the fill that we provided, and also for the additional runoff, so that's why we ended up building those walls up there. They have a fence on them. They're all well protected for anyone, around the top, so that no one will fall over those fences and so on. There's a fence actually all the way around, almost the entire wall system.
you don't have any sidewalks proposed?
Yeah, there are sidewalks proposed. If you see here, there is a sidewalk along the new building going all the way down to that parking point. And then after that, there are no sidewalks with the parking area in the back.
Sidewalks on the street?
Oh. No, we do not have a sidewalk shown on the street.
Originally, I can remember correctly. But there was a proposal on the first building, flower shop, that there was supposed to be sidewalks put in. I don't see them now. It's a pretty much connection from Josie's this way on Mill Street, so I'd like to see if sidewalks can be put in there.
Just speak up. So, Alice Bean.
Seb Malasvini, 78 Grove Street, East Berlin. My wife and I own the property. Originally, there was a bond for the sidewalks, and then there was a change of administration. I believe I'm going back a ways.
Oh, that's why I told you, my old head, probably didn't
remember that. And then it just, we talked about it, and it just, they released the bond money.
Yeah, well, there was a question of behind the, I guess, the guardrail here. You would have to fill in behind it in order to get a sidewalk.
Right.
And what it was about that culvert that's there. There's that water culvert to the property, so I remember the application, they were talking about putting the sidewalks in, but then they said, well, we have to stop the sidewalk because then we have to fill in in order to build the sidewalk out to the road. So that's what happened with that sidewalk.
But even the portion behind in front of the building was done. But it was sidewalks elevated to Josie's, I guess it was originally. And that's just come to mind that those were there. And if they can be engineered into this plan, it is completion of the sidewalk almost down the bridge. Old planners thing is another piece of the puzzle.
I can ask Jim Orville about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, because, we are putting more potential walking traffic on the property, especially with drive-through and stuff like that. So I think now it's wants a little bit more.
I agree. I agree with that. I think if we can get it to work safely from an engineering standpoint, it would probably be wise to do.
And I see you put a monolithic core in here for the sidewalk addition building. And I think if you do a monolithic core out towards the road, it's a little narrow sidewalk and it's all deep, so it might be easier to see.
Yeah, we just, we, that's really, the sidewalk falls on me, these guys talked about it. I said, well, we proposed it and, I got my bond money back, so I kind of let.
Too bad my mind.
I know. But thank you.
If I can also add to that, there's a portion where in order to put any of the sidewalk, you do have to fill into the wetland. So we probably have to go back to wetland and DOT and
Whatever that for.
but we would look at it engineering wise and
Even if it was filled in and stone, as a stone sidewalk behind the railing, it may be enough to get.
it's just,
Get to.
it is so
sidewalk
tight.
again,
Seriously, it is so tight and it's so steep that if you go to do that, you end up filling.
That conversation.
Would the
Right.
commission consider having it be in the areas like where it stops and gets very steep? Because I don't know, what it would entail for that.
No,
The
In other words, if
only
we-
problem with that is that it leaves a gap.
Right.
And which puts the people off the street.
Right.
Well, and that's, and what happens with those gaps, sooner or later, the town gets the money and they fill in the gaps. So, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know.
Which means that,
I'm sorry.
well, no, it's just, we're gonna catch it. Anyway, all right, we have a lot of. Well, we're still waiting for the planner. So you have yet to put together on this project anyway, so I mean, it is open. We're in the public hearing, so I'll tell you, is there anyone who's been waiting patiently on?
Yes.
Okay, yes, please, just the name and address for the record before you.
Charlie Blake, I live on School Street. My property is directly across from these wetlands that we're speaking about. I've got a lot of concerns, and one of them was brought up by yourself about that culvert that drains the wetlands currently across Mill Street into the state property. You said the state doesn't want any of the water migration to go into their space. How are you mitigating that flow? Because there's an existing culvert there. So if you're pushing all of this stuff into the existing wetlands, it's just gonna go to the state land.
Right, the wetland flows this way. So originally, we had a roof drain that came off here and drained into a swale.
Okay, I'll ask that you use the microphone if you can and just give your name that you're gonna.
Sebastian Malsby.
Okay, thank you.
So originally, we had a roof drain that came here and went into a swale. So the water would have run the same way. And the state said, why are you doing that? Keep it in your property so you don't have to maintain it. That was it. So we pushed it into our property and it drains this way. One thing about this proposal is about 60 years ago, 50 years ago, we put in a giant pipe there and filled it so it impedes flow. So that's going to get opened up in addition to the 1,000
This is
cubic yards.
very, it is wetland. There's a foot of water all of here now. Greg's property comes along here, Cork's property comes along here, and it's wetlands to my property. That's secondary to my concerns. My major concern is with the additional parking spaces, there's increased lighting. The lighting is a nuisance as it is now. It doesn't go off. The light posts are currently on 24/7. So not only do we have a new building, new light posts in several new areas, we have proposed lights on the back of the building, which I'm assuming are going to be on 24/7 as well. And another thing that was brought up with the change of your plans with the outflow of the traffic, the DOT doesn't want, you want all of the flow to go out this one?
Correct.
So it's gonna be a multi-purpose exit for a drive-through and all of the apartments. So if somebody's getting coffee and the residents want to leave, they gotta wait for the people getting coffee.
No,
There's a body.
no, it's a 24-foot
I
wide.
was gonna say, because there's about, it's only about 20 to 24 feet. And all of the state farm utilities come through on this side of the building. There's air conditioning units. So that cuts into the 24-foot space. So I don't know if you propose to relocate all of that,
I don't think we would have to, but we certainly would.
just a concern.
Yeah, we don't want to impede.
Right.
flow. We don't, that's not good for business.
So again, as a resident on this side, my concerns are the lighting. It's like I could read a book in my backyard now. There's constant light. And the flow of traffic with headlights is literally right into my backyard. The proposed landscaping on the dumpsters, a couple of 5-foot arborvitaes aren't going to do any kind of mitigation for any of that kind of stuff as well. So that we'd like you to consider all of those concerns as a local resident that directly affects me. Thanks, but it's.
All right. Okay, anyone else from the public?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Terry Jensen, 1443 Farmington Avenue. So my property directly butts it. It's the wooded area. You actually had it up there before. It can be seen. I do have the same concerns with drainage, moving the drainage around. I understand that there is wetlands in the back of the property. I've been there for 14 years, so I understand it very well. This week alone, we just had a foot of water probably in all of our backyards in that one area. But I am concerned with opening that flow back up and the drainage also coming back towards our property, limiting the usage potentially in the future. So I want that to be reviewed, please. And I know they're still finalizing some plans. Also with, as far as lighting concerns, I have to agree. I can see the property directly off my back porch. Right now, the lighting isn't terrible, but I can see the property at all times. So with increased elevated lights, that's going to be, I think, definitely a challenge for us. I'm also concerned of safety, being able to see into my property, being elevated now. You can see directly, any occupants at that area would be able to see directly what we have going on at the house. So I'd be concerned about that. Also with sound, I'm not sure what the time frames of the usage of the property is going to change. If there happens to be, I know this is a confined permit right now, but long-term, if that becomes a restaurant, do they have outside music and what's going on? What are the hours of usage? So maybe you can help me understand what some of the hours of usage are going to be for the property. If it's just going to be a coffee in the beginning in the morning, or is it going to be a coffee and then maybe some extra stuff that are going on?
I mean, our intention now is morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, all.
Okay, again, I have to ask you, no, just because you're responding and our poor recording secretary is going to be.
Sebastian Miles, PD 78 Grove Street, East Berlin, property owner. So it would be, early morning until early afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock. That's our intention. Now, I don't know what the future holds. I would want to, say, oh, right, we're going to guarantee those hours, but that's our intention.
Yep. So I would like to understand some of the light mitigations, where the lighting is going to be directionally posted. It needs to be done for safety. I understand for occupants of the property, but also for us residents around the area. How are the light posts going to be fixtured? Are they going to be directional light posts, and can they be fixtured towards the lot? So now the residents don't have to have that observation. Also privacy fencing, or potentially having. You could have a natural tree barrier if it's going to be closer. That'd be probably a good response. I am concerned about the runoff again, and want to understand what the flow mitigations are going to be, because if we have a high rainstorm and we're now opening up flow, is it going to flow back towards the properties and potentially affect our properties? And then also the safety concerns.
All right.
Terrific, thank you. Anyone else?
May I speak one more time?
Yeah, and then I think Mr. Ash wants to comment.
Sebastian Mouse, meeting 78 Grove Street. In regards to the mitigation of the flow, I definitely understand where you're coming from. But when we work with wetlands, I think Ali can say, they kind of thought this was going to be helpful because we're increasing storage and things aren't going to be bottlenecked as much. So this area that normally would be closed to water because it's so high will now store water. So that kind of opens things up. You know, that when we're saying the retaining wall is going to be 68 feet, that's only true in a very small portion in the back. Like here, it's 3 feet, 2 feet, I think it was somewhere in here. So we're not talking about huge amounts of fill. You know, if you look at the cross sections, the vertical is exaggerated. But it's not, you know, we're not talking about coming in and just huge amounts of fill. Everything has been balanced with an excess of removal to open up for 1,000 cubic feet. So it has, you know, it has been considered, and I agree, I think we need to be careful.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the phone? Okay, no.
I was just gonna answer one of his questions. if I
Okay.
could.
Yeah, sure.
As a tourist. The lighting will be LED lighting. We're gonna make sure that it's all with the cutoffs on the back and shining downward. So the present ones are like that also.
You know, honestly, I had no idea that, you know,
Right.
I thought they were so far away that it didn't disturb them. I will do my best to mitigate that now. I didn't realize that was an issue, to be honest with you. I had no idea.
And along that portion of parking, we did have envisioned some type of evergreen landscaping trees.
Yeah.
And it may not have been shown on our landscaping plan.
I think it is, not to the extent we want to put maybe.
But we'll look at
Well,
that.
yeah,
because
this is
we would-
all gonna
We
stay.
would have that whole edge, especially, you know, this side is being right by the cars, so that will block any traffic moving headlights in that
Yeah.
direction. And then the other side also, we can have trees along that edge.
Yeah.
So again, we create a natural screen to help protect you from having, you know, that lighting problem that you're talking about. With the LEDs, you really can control the direction of lighting, so we can have that done. We didn't prepare an isometric photometric plan.
Yeah.
But we will, if that's what is needed, so that everyone can see the amount of splash that will hit over the boundary and so on.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then we will get somebody to do that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We usually look for that.
Yeah, I know, but no one really, we just didn't get any information before.
No.
And we haven't received staff
Yeah,
information, so
and
they
that's
might
why-
be there and.
Yeah, we just opened the public hearing tonight to
Right.
get some initial direction for you. Okay, anything else from the commission?
Just one quick-
Yes, go right ahead, Diane.
Just one quick thing, because it was mentioned in one of the questions, for the drive-through, is there any intention of having, like a loudspeaker or?
Yes, on this portion of the building. So we'll be facing to the east. I don't know what I think the regulation says you have to be 100 feet from.
You have to just come back up. I mean, I'm sure Fran's gonna recognize your voice by
Sebastian
now,
Mouse,
but
meeting.
That's okay, no address necessary, just, we'll take the name.
He lives on a good road.
I think that, I lost my train of thought.
Yes.
I think that the regulation calls for 100 feet from the speaker, and we're way above that to residential zoning, and then the houses are way beyond that, so.
We just want to be mindful of the noise. And
Absolutely.
the last thing a resident wants to listen to is how many flowers or how many coffees.
Yeah.
we're gonna be ordering. I wouldn't want to, anyway. But anyway, anything else really quick? Or we, because I know that.
We like very nice landscaping is done good on the first building. Need a place to get the flowers and bushes, I could recommend you a good place.
Oh, geez. All right, well, come on, the hour is late. We have some stuff to, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Edge, you were waiting to make a comment. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. I was going to make a comment on precision. I was going to make the comment about the evergreens in the rear of the property, but I already did that.
Okay.
I'm supportive of the project. I think it's important with the neighbors. I would like to make a suggestion of maybe both of you guys and neighbors get together, talk about some of the things, and then that way, anything that can be done to allay their issues or any things they have would be good to get. I have known Sebi for quite a while now, has been a great businessman, and as you can see from this meeting, willing to work with folks. Excited about the growth of the property. I know the residential units are a little bit different, but I know right now, the development by the train station has 16 units and they have 70 names right now on the list. So there definitely is a need for folks to have apartments in Berlin, especially I know younger folks, millennials.
All right, so. Anyone, come on, well, we know we're gonna continue this, so, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Rogan, do we have a second? Okay, great, further discussion, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. On to the last item, proposed text amendment to the zoning regulation of Robert Wassey to add automotive appearance enhancement services used for automotive, motorcycles and pickup trucks, no mechanical and no non-sales to section 7C, GI-2, special permit. And who do we have to? Okay, oh, come on now. Thank you for waiting. This is gonna be finishing up the public hearing and then we're gonna circle on back and go through again. So, just to let you know. All right.
How do you do this every 2 weeks? What you do?
I don't know.
Getting longer.
I know, I'm trying, I made myself a plan that I was gonna be out of here by a certain time, and I
I
think I might
texted
hit my
my
mark.
wife and said, I think I'm done with it.
Oh, well, I will get you home before midnight.
Okay.
I really will. You can text her and tell her to put the coffee pot on. All right, go ahead. What do you have for us today?
I did make the text amendment application. I'd like to read it. As I propose the words, they can be changed to suit the situation. Automotive appearance enhancement. It's a lot of big words. Services for automobiles, motorcycles, pickup trucks. Very specifically, non-mechanical and non-sales, including detailing service, glass tinting services, paintless dent removal services, and all services to be conducted indoors with no outdoor activity or storage, and business requiring a dealer license or repair license are prohibited under what I'm suggesting. And that, of course, is for the GI2 zone. Now, more specifically, I'm here on behalf of the owners and developers of the Deming Road Business Park, which of course is on Deming Road. It's located in the GI2 zone. Presently has 2 buildings. One is fully owned and occupied, and the other is offers 6 flex spaces within the one building, each with its own overhead door. There will be 2 similar buildings built in the future in that park. And in hopes that that be a successful operation, that's why I asked for the text amendment change. From a real estate perspective, the interest and demand for this type of facilities has included a variety of uses, not all of which are presently allowed in that zone. The first 3 units in that building that are being leased for businesses are allowed, a parts distributor and 2 carpentry related businesses. So I am here on behalf of potential tenants as well. We have people who would like to showcase their business in a new facility like this. And the businesses that I've mentioned under automotive are what I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help them have a successful business. According to Chris Edge, the typical automotive businesses such as repair and sales are not a favorite because they're messy and sometimes unattractive. And I understand that, and I want you to draw a big space between that and what I'm asking for. To be very clear.
So I may just ask a question. While you're talking about that, does this mean that anything dealing with the automotive repair or whatever would be done inside the building?
No. There will be, under what I'm asking for, the text change I'm asking for does not include mechanical repairs, does not include automotive sales. The services are appearance enhancements, as the things that I've mentioned.
Like detailing?
Like detailing. I have another person who does window tinting. I have a paintless dent removal person, all of which are meant to enhance the appearance of vehicles. Nothing whatsoever to do with the oil and gas and mess of a repair facility.
But would the work on these vehicles
Be done inside completely, no outside storage. We're being very specific there about that part of the zoning regulation. We're not allowing anybody to park overnight, to have any outside equipment or vehicles on site there.
Okay.
So we want to keep it as neat and clean as possible, and that's why they're interested, because they like their client to feel good about where they're getting their car serviced. We all like that. We all know that when the car is clean, it runs better. And as business people, they want to have you bring your car to a nice, clean new facility. So I'm here for the property owners so that they have tenants, and I'm here for rooting for those business owners as well.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
The only thing I'm gonna further say, so I'll make this short and sweet. I'm gonna ask you to keep this thought in mind as you're making your decision. I'd like you to think of these businesses as the kinder, gentler side of automotive services, to separate them from the other things we talked about. Okay, and that's all I have to say.
All right, so do we have any comments from the commission? Questions? Yes, Sandy.
Just a quick question. You did indicate that there was not going to be any, say, oil change. There was
I'm
going to be no oil change service, no mechanical service.
None
What
whatsoever.
about no body work?
No body work. No, just the things we talked
So,
Anyone else on the commission?
about. I just realized I did not say my name.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Robert Rossi, Kensington Road in Southington. That's the other end of Southington Road in Kensington. Just to be clear.
I got it.
Okay.
So this is what the special permit use that you would like at.
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay.
Anyways.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
All right, thank you. Maureen, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, first I want to just apologize for not having staff on this on this yet. I just simply ran out of time.
I know.
The volume spring with permits and applications and not having the video, just got the best.
I met
I would like clarify it, and I believe you said it, but in, the exact words, I understand from what I've done so far, although I've not completely researched it, that no DMV or other state licensing is required for this use, which would mean it doesn't fall under, if that is the case, it would not fall under the section of the regulations that requires the zoning board of appeals to review location approvals. I would like to make sure that's confirmed prior to this. Location approvals are for the state license, for a dealer and repairer's license. And if they do require licensing, that gets the zoning board of appeals sign off, I would definitely want more time to get more feedback with regard to that from the zoning board of appeals that meets next week.
Okay, Mr. Rossi, did you understand?
Not, my other comments, if I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
And then whether or not the commission will take further comments from me and or the zoning board of appeals. That's it.
All right, the planner had an interesting question. She wanted to know whether or not your facility with the automotive consideration would need any kind of special licensing or permitting through the DMV.
Or another state agency.
Or another state agency.
I'm not aware of these kinds of businesses needing licensing.
Okay, yeah.
Like auto sales needs a state license. Auto repair needs a state license. These are people polishing your car and
Vacuuming
tinting
out
your
the
windows and that kind of thing. So I would assume not.
Okay. All right, because if it did, she would need a little bit more time to make sure that she was.
And if it did, I would disqualify it by my own words,
Yeah.
saying
Exactly.
if they require a license.
We understand, but we do need to make sure that we ask these questions so that we have a record of it.
I would question the dentless,
Paintless, definitely.
paintless death remover, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they need a license or not, but that's the only question.
Again, I don't think they do because it
I don't
doesn't
think
touch
so.
the engine. So that's my understanding of the extent of when the license is required.
All right. So, there's no more discussion on this. No, no.
Thank you. No. Oh,
All right. Maureen, do you
sorry.
need to-
I'm behind you.
For that,
Okay.
I would leave that to your discretion.
Staff, and the commission discussion. Okay, all right.
Present, I actually had worked very closely with Bob on this. I know there's always been a concern about automotive uses in the industrial zone. In fact, I know if you look at the particular building at Harding, probably 6 months don't go by that Maureen and I aren't telling somebody, no, you can't do automotive. It is written in a way that if there is any need for a DMV license, they are not allowed in this zone. That was one of the things that specifically was stated and asked at economic development, because we do not want automotive repair, sales. We don't think it belongs to the GIG. It is written that way specifically. Economic Development Commission was in favor of it written this way. Again, not allowing you, basically, if you need a DMV license to do what you're doing, you can't. That was specifically what we wanted, because we want to make sure we're protecting our industrial zones. GI2 zone isn't important. So we believe that these are uses that are not really intensive. The fact that it's not, again, not going to have the outside parking and overnight stuff, we're confident. I know too that the property owner wants to keep the property nice because their intent is long-term leasing of the final 3 buildings. So we're confident that this makes sense. And I know, again, the commission has a lot of questions on that same thing, because the concern was is we have a number of businesses which have, we'll say, taken advantage of their property lines where they are and are not where they put their cars.
Yeah.
And we do not want that to happen. In the GIG.
Perfect, thank you. And public hearing, so anyone else have comment? Okay. Commission, what's the pleasure? Maureen, you said that you just have to do a little bit more work, background work here, so maybe we should entertain.
I'm open
keeping
to
it open.
doing it, to providing a staff report with some more substance and comments.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission? I know the hour's late.
I would prefer to wait for staff review.
Okay.
To make it more thorough.
All right, is that the consensus of the commission? Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's what we're gonna do, is somebody's gonna make, I think Ms. Sandy over here is gonna be making a motion to keep this open.
Yes, I make a motion to keep the text amendment of the GI to.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, second by Ms. Joshi, further discussion on that, so all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. All right, let's go back into old business and see if we can get through some of this. Item 1 is the special permit site plan application with Preserve SM LLC for the 76 residential lots. This is the Rand Acres Lane. Oh, this was continued. All right, thank you. Zone change application of 337 Berlin LLC. This was the turnpike. This is map 4. This is the Devon Road, the Worthington Ridge. And this was the one that was, it's a Berlin Turnpike. Yes, the industrial surface. Do we want to continue this? Can we close it? All right. So we close the public hearing. Thank you for keeping that note. All right, so what do we have on this one?
I would make a motion to approve. I do have concerns, I don't know how we'll do this.
Well, let's have a discussion.
Okay,
Before we
let's
make a
have a
motion.
discussion first.
All right,
My concern is the uses of the property, the industrial uses on the property for a lot of years. And I don't think it goes into the zoning application, I'm not positive. But there should be an environmental thing done on that property. If it's going to be a future use on that property, then the environmental has to be done on at least that. Just 3 pieces, at least that piece that the industrial building was on.
because of oils.
Because of oils and stuff they've used for a lot of years there. So, I don't know if we can put it in the zoning change, but we could probably put it in the site.
Yeah, or wetlands.
Yeah, because this is just
Site
for the
plan.
zone change, so.
Site plan.
Site plan, okay, it's on the site.
That's all right, we'll be hours, so
Okay.
we're trying to stay on top of it, so, but how do we feel about the zone change here? Do we think that this is going to be a little bit more complete, so it's it for that corner? Yeah,
I would definitely think this would be a good thing for that corner.
all right, so then, am I hearing a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
All right,
Just one comments, staff's comments.
okay,
Have a little bit more discussion first.
all right.
I just-
That was a motion.
Well, you can have.
You can
Or you can do the second.
Do the motion, then have a discussion.
Then there's a second for discussion.
Yeah, or you can do it the other way.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second for discussion.
I'll do a second for discussion.
Okay, all right.
So my only thing is I'm very, I guess, protective over industrial, and I like the idea of industrial going to BT1. But I can't see how the complications of that parcel, specific to maybe making an acceptable reason to allow it. Yes. It's tired, it's late and tired, but yeah, I don't like the idea of losing, when we were discussing conservation, we were discussing the need for more industrial land. That's why I guess I'm protective over it,
Yeah.
but it's a hard parcel to work with. I'm just worried about setting the precedent of us losing industrial land, because we should be protecting it.
Yeah,
I agree with, not wanting to lose industrial land, but I also look at where that parcel is located on the Berlin Turnpike. And, would I rather see something there that, can draw people from the Berlin Turnpike in there? I think the charging stations is a great idea. Personally, I think I'd rather see something like that there versus an industrial building. I just, with everything that's in the development and the apartments and everything that's going on in that area, I just don't think the industrial fits in that spot.
Yeah, so
To lose it, but
I'm not against it. My reason I'm bringing this up right now is I would like it on the record of why we're considering changing this PI to BT1.
That particular piece of land, was basically titled Wood White Oak, that's well behind it. So the PI, couldn't develop it because of the restrictions on the land either. So basically this piece is giving a little bit more acreage, whatever, to the development that they're proposing, which probably give them a little more calculations, whatever. But I don't think it can be used as BI. If it was going to be a BI, it would have been with the old, the other development, you know.
So yeah, exactly. That's pretty much all. I just wanted to have our reasoning on record.
That's a good reason to put on record. Okay, any other questions or comments? I mean, I myself am gonna be very interested to see what happens with that roof. So. That's my concern. All righty, so hearing no other questions, Steve, I'll let you, you're all that, you're so quiet today. Come on, step it up. All right, so, so we have a motion, we have a second, so for the discussion. So then all those in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? So, all right. So that's been down. All righty, now we have a special permit use application for Joey's Place at ABA Services, Connecticut Child Care. All right, so this was a very interesting one. So where do we leave this one at?
We closed it.
Oh, we had it closed, right? Yes. Yeah, thank you. All right, so comments.
I got a comment, it's just, I think it's a good thing to happen overall. I do question that bringing it up to code without acknowledgement of the building owner, that it will be brought up to code to meet this need. And I mean, maybe we can prove it with the stipulation that happens.
I think I need to clarify this.
Yeah,
If you
please.
remember out of public hearing, I think I need to clarify this. So the comments from the building inspector and fire marshal indicate that it's an occupancy change, and therefore their inspection will mandate that.
Yeah.
They're inspecting and re-qualifying the building under a different occupancy. Makes that happen and requires it. It's not discretion.
Of course, if those changes aren't made, they're not gonna be granted a state license anyway to do the daycare, right?
So yeah, whether it be the applicant or the landlord, somebody.
Someone has to.
Yeah, so
In order to
I would just say
operate, prior to
landlord.
their being able to operate and signing off on their
They'll never get
occupancy
the license.
of the building, their licensing.
They've already occupying the building and without these codes. And we know about it now. And so that's why I'm concerned.
Well, but right now it's more administrative services there.
They
and they're gonna be
do have
bringing that in.
some, like, they said 4 kids at a time, whatever. They have some stuff going on there. This will be expanding of that, what they do.
And we can call back to the inspector's discretion as well and monitor, so that they have uses that are not permitted. It would become an enforcement issue from the multiple departments.
And I think as far as the backyard where that side yard is concerned with the fencing, I think that should all be subject to staff approval. Make sure the type of fencing, it's gonna be conducive with what they're trying for.
All through the whole.
Yeah, or it's not gonna be stockade, blocking looking, you know, it's gonna be attractive fencing. Because we'll say, yeah, attractive and functional, and I'm not too worried about the front of the building, because I have the impression, of course, that the children won't be running out to them. I think that's probably why we have to go here in the back. But, so I think perhaps if we make it clear that, you know, any concerns have to be addressed and worked through with the staff, that we might be able to let this one, because I hear no real pushback on the idea.
They address some of that part thing with the handicap part.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's probably subject to staff approval.
yeah, so I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Make the motion to approve with staff comments, also with staff review of the drop-off logistics and staff approval of the outside fencing slash outside playscape area. And I would like to also condition that the other department comments from the fire marshal, building official, and health district are all satisfied along with the building code that Commissioner Zigmund.
very good, Mr. Rowe. I would be happy to second. All right, who also has a second? Further discussion? Then all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. All right, on to the, what do we have next? Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Special permit for the shuttle metal development at 309. That was continued, right? All right, thank
This
you.
is a point of interest, I think, wants to note that Tom did jump on, but Chris communicated with him that he already, or that you opened the item and continued it to the next meeting.
All right, good. Then we had the special permit application for the unified site plan for Sebastian. I think we're going to be continuing as well. Yes, okay. And then the proposed text amendment for Robert Rossi to add a motorcycle. Continue. All right, May 5th is going to be a wonderful.
All right.
Yes.
I have
before-
something, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. All right, before we
Okay,
adjourn,
sorry.
before we adjourn, we have staff comments.
Newport Realty for the Newport
All right.
Water Project. Submitted a letter from Adjuster Jones. I don't think that we ended up making copies of the letter itself, but basically it is, they have proposed, and I think I mentioned it several meetings ago. They're proposing changes to the building that is to the right if you're entering onto Steel Boulevard, the new road, number 10 Steel Center. The overall, let's see, they are asking for, they're gonna be submitting for a site plan amendment. It was a special permit, the whole overall project was under special permit approval. And in accordance with section 11E2, I'm gonna read this sentence. We respectfully request your consideration of yours and the consideration of the Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission to waive the requirement for a public hearing regarding the amended special permit application for 10 Steel Boulevard, Berlin, a component of the transit-oriented development located adjacent to the Berlin train station. They have given reasoning with that, and I can read through those reasons. The highlighted reasons, or you want me to just read it? I think it's probably more appropriate, but it's not short, but it's points. The changes we are proposing are minor in scope and shall not require waivers or any other special zoning related considerations. Comparing the original approval for the overall Steel Center development and specifically 10 Steel Boulevard. The overall density of Steel Center development is less than originally approved. The overall gross building area of 10 Steel Center is less. The first floor is slightly larger, but the second floor is smaller. The structure originally approved at 10 Steel was 2-story medical office building with 64 parking spaces. The proposed building is a partial 2-story structure with 6,200 gross square feet of commercial space on the first floor and 4 multifamily units allowed. The total number of multifamily units in Steel Center development increases by 5% from 76 to 81. This calculation includes 1 multifamily unit located at 861 Farmington Avenue. The total gross square footage of commercial space in the Steel Center project is reduced by 71% from 25,280 square feet to 14,800 square feet. The required parking on 10 Steel Boulevard portion of the project is 33 less spaces than originally approved. Impervious surface coverage at 10 Steel Boulevard is decreased from 90% to 77%, and therefore provide an additional green space. The 10 Steel Center Boulevard will still have 2 floors on Farmington Avenue side to create the appropriate height and scale along the main Farmington Avenue frontage. And not have the basic contract, questions, etc. So Staff, they are anticipating submitting their site plan application for review by the commission as soon as possible. The discussion with staff was whether or not they required an amendment to the special permit as well and a public hearing. Substantially, staff, myself, Jim Mahoney, Chris Edge, all working with Newport together on this. So directed them to the section of the regulations that allows the planning and zoning commission at their discretion to waive the need for a public hearing for a site plan amendment to an approved special permit project. And they give reasoning that is supportable, that a public hearing is not required. In that it is an approved building where really is the configuration and commercial uses or the uses of that building that are being modified all within the scope of the overall project. We felt that they should request, ask the commission if they would waive the public hearing. The reason I'm asking this outside of them coming to the meeting to do this is because they have to submit an application. And then we have to either notice it as a public hearing and schedule a public hearing for it, or we put it on as a regular item. So and maybe I gave you too much information.
No.
A lot of information, but, so the building, are you talking about the one that hasn't been built yet?
Yes, the one that has not been built across the street from across the new road from the one that has been built along.
In short, they want to remove that from commercial and turn it into residential?
No, they're maintaining commercial, but they're going to have residences above. So they're proposing a couple of residences above.
Did they have the residences above in the original plan?
No,
It's supposed to be all medical, it's supposed to be medical offices, correct?
I believe so.
Do you mind?
Chris may have.
Yeah, all right.
Sure. Initially, it was presented as a two-story medical office. They looked at a couple things. One, the current kind of where medical office is, the medical office players right now are not expanding in this area. They're expanding down into Fairfield County, and they're expanding more to the north, Field, Windsor. They also looked at second floor space, which right now, second floor space is very challenging to rent, except to medical office. The other piece was they looked at the amount of space that you would lose with elevators and stairs, and it's pretty close, the amount of square footage, that usable square footage on one floor that we're gonna have with the new building. So it's pretty close. The second story, again, I think that was more of a Brian Hume's idea to give, from a scale perspective, instead of having a 3 next to a 1, 3 stories, 2 stories, and really to make it fit. The nice thing is that the guys from Newport are really good on how to make this work, which has been their way the whole time. But I think it'll be nice. I'm nudging them to consider, can we do maybe another restaurant in the building where if it was medical office, there's no way to be a restaurant. No promises, but I can always ask. Because again, it's a single-story building, it all faces the road. I mean, you can kind of see what happened with John Orsini's new building, the one that faces the road really has a lot of appeal down there, and I'm sure it'll have a lot of appeal on Farmington Avenue.
Where's that Texas Roadhouse?
Oh.
Talked about it last meeting.
Oh, geez, okay.
I'll talk to the guy who just got the zone change. How's that sound?
So, I mean, so really it comes down to a question, so do we want to have them revisit us with a revised plan, and we would decide without the public hearing?
Right, so
They're
they're
just
just coming
looking for
in
the
with
right-
revised
Yeah.
plan, staff.
Do we want to?
Overall,
require it?
we feel very strongly
Yeah.
that, given the scope of the project overall
Yeah.
and the maintenance of the record over
Yeah.
through the future, that a modification to the overall project of this scope should come back to the commission. And including the design review, which we already do have comments back from Brian Humes on, just as an aside. But it is a matter of whether the scope of modifying from the full second story with open space inside, they have a lot of atrium space and elevators and large scale staircases, to having commercial use instead, that's not necessarily medical uses would, and a couple more residential uses.
So that's the biggest thing, is just taking away the medical use space.
The scale.
Yeah.
And whether that is a special permit thing that needs a public hearing.
I don't think it necessarily means that medical can't go there.
Right.
Because the way it was laid out for the parking, it was laid out for medical, which is a higher parking need.
Right.
I think I think one of the things is requesting that it only be medical, which is really what it was before. Now it opens it up to other opportunities, and I think they've seen, particularly from the ground floor of the Tyvek building, Newport Center, the need for the offices of a smaller scale. That's where the market is right now. It's not necessarily for big chunks of space like they had in the medical office.
One at home, what the market's gonna do is what. So the
If you look at it in the ground floor of their building, they know a lot more than me and a lot of other people. They've been doing it for years, and they fill the entire thing in 22 months, so I mean, that tells me they know what they're doing.
I mean, personally, I think that it still fits under the scope of the project. I don't see the need for a public hearing. That's my opinion.
Anyone else want to?
outside would be the same looking building, same material, that thing.
Yeah, and that's where Brian Humes comes in with his review, and I believe Maureen will share that with you when they come back in with the application.
The drop part.
And that being part of the
Landscaping.
site plan consideration as opposed to the portions that compel the public hearing. And like I said, that was our, you know.
What do you guys think?
Well, I was gonna say, I don't recall there being a whole lot of public interest in this the first time around.
Yeah.
The concern that I have is just the sake of transparency. You know, public perception and finding a public hearing.
But is the footprint remaining the same? Footprint of the building?
Substantially the same, there is a little.
It's gotta be smaller.
tweaking. They're
Smaller.
moving things around a little. Let's see,
Lower.
he directly said that. Impervious surface decreases. I don't think he stated in the reasoning, the total gross square footage of commercial space is reduced.
14K or something,
Yeah.
20 something, 14.
Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 too. I get that it's a minor change, but at the same time, like Diane said, as far as transparency goes, and there wasn't much public interest at the time, but since it's gotten started, people have started, it is the center of Berlin. People have started to take notice and show interest.
The other thing I just thought of is that this was the building that had that big atrium in the middle of it, right? The offices on both sides, and the glass atrium in front. So without that glass atrium, it's really different looking building.
Okay, so I'm understanding that we'd like to do it under the auspices of a public hearing.
I just, so you know what I'm doing over here, I just pulled that section of the regs, so, you know.
Yeah.
And I can read it to you if you want to know what.
I mean, I
considered
guess
under
if
that
it-
section or not.
No, you know what, I'm just, the more I'm hearing, the more I'm thinking I'm just gonna err on the side of our, you know, our gut instinct, and I think the gut instinct is that we should probably have it in.
Could be one meeting,
And, yeah.
no, not continuing it on the.
No, and I mean, it'll be a, but we just want to keep the transparency going. We don't mean to be a pain, but this is gonna change that really. All right. Okay, so I'm hearing that. What's the concern? Yeah, tell them that it doesn't give us any great pleasure, but on the other hand, it's just a step we have to take. Okay.
And I worked to
Yes.
possibly add it, they've been working on this for some time.
Yes.
Work to notice that public hearing as soon as we can fit it in.
Sure.
Or do you want it scheduled on the next meeting to schedule the public?
No, go ahead and just go ahead and bring it on.
It's likely that it'll end up being this one,
On the
not the next meeting anyway, but if we have everything.
No,
together,
we'll help them out that way.
If we can
Yeah,
manage it.
yeah,
I'm concerned about the number of applications. But
I'd like to bring up one thing.
all right, yeah.
But in the time of the meeting running now. And we brought up tonight. Okay, do this every night, every 2 weeks. We use it in the commission, have time thing, the meetings met from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And if we didn't complete the agenda, those agenda items would be on the first items on the next meeting. So those people wouldn't have to stay a long time. It's just a suggestion that maybe we want to reinstitute that. Something to think about, because, you know, these meetings, because of the application we've been having, these meetings are running late.
Yeah, well, I never took that option off the table. I mean, our last meeting, we were here, what, 45 minutes? And we were out the door. So we were very, very. Good night, Chris. But I understand that as it gets later, obviously, people are getting a little bit burnt out. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's just human
Everyone
nature.
is, yeah.
But, you know, it's 10:15, and I think we made good time considering everything we had in front of us. And, I keep that to the point, but if I saw that I had 3 or 4 more public hearings, well, number one, I think I would tell Maureen, listen, what else? What can we get rid of right away, or what can we just delay? Because she also understands that we have a time constraint.
She won't make it.
Well, no, but she also understands when the meeting is a large meeting.
We have the demand, we always can go over, it's just that the rules there.
Well,
We
yeah.
can say, okay, it's 10 o'clock, do you want to complete the agenda tonight?
Yeah, but I don't wanna
Once
get,
it's-
I wanna get
okay.
rotten eggs thrown at me if we only have like 2 more items on the
Then
agenda.
we can say, okay, let's
And
put
then,
those
and
2
then
items
you've got a
on.
poor person sitting here all night waiting,
No,
and then all of a sudden they're gonna go, what? They're not gonna hear me?
no, there's still be that option to
Oh my
go,
God.
to go,
Oh,
you
well,
know,
let's get them.
go a little over, I know, I
I
know, but,
think the note that I have on my office says that the policy the commission came up with was 10:30. I'll check with
Well, whatever
Dan.
time
I
it
know
is.
that he
I
has.
remember
it,
the
but I
time.
didn't- I don't think that's ever.
I remember a time, so, you know, we just, maybe we set that time, and if we have to go over, we go over, but,
And may I suggest everyone drink more coffee? Close to 6 o'clock at night, and then I'll give you the.
So I just quickly picked up on the screen some of the things that are upcoming. That have already been scheduled, and that's one of the issues we have is that, like, at this meeting, 2 of the items were moved to this meeting, which was already pre-scheduled for other items, and we were coming close to the deadlines. So that's what usually, that's what's been happening when they get moved along or skipped, you know, they ask for an extension, they ask not to be heard. They come on to the next meeting.
Yeah. Well, we were doing the best we can, and that's all we can do.
And then I'll just say that we did, everybody should have gotten an email from our corporation counsel
Yes.
that Rio Vista went
Yes.
very well, and she's on vacation this week, but is intending to have a short executive session summary next time.
Okay.
You
Very
actually
short
reserve that
executive
spot.
session. Warn her, 5 minutes, that's it.
They did so with town council the other night, so.
Yeah, I was very happy about that. I was thrilled. All right, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, okay, we have a motion, it's 10:16 for the record. And so we have a motion by Diane, we have a second by Sandy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. Thank you for staying. Yep. Oh.
forget your jacket that you're gonna roll over with your.